Hello everyone and welcome to the Hunter Association, your source for all things Hunter x Hunter. My name is Kaige.
And my name is Dylan.
And in this week's episode we will be covering Volume 38, Founding, our final volume.
Woo! Milestone!
Dylan is officially caught up now as of this week.
I am.
And I've done my second read through now, which is much less significant, but whatever. Still something. Yeah, we got through it. This is it.
We are prepared now for the return a month from now.
Yes. Wow. A month away, guys. So exciting.
It's going to be a lot, too. I can't wait for this run.
Yes. Oh, man. It's going to be amazing. All right. So, first, news. Nothing except Togashi updates. He just finished Chapter 4, inking 418 today. So, cool.
Yeah. Progress.
Good Got one more down. 2 more to go to 420.
Yep.
All right, Dylan. Do you know what time it is before we start the volume? Are you prepared?
No, I can't say I am. No, but I
All
think
right,
I know what
we're doing it anyways. So, Dylan, let me ask you. It has been 2 weeks now since I popped the question the first time.
Yeah.
Can you name all 14 princes?
I'll try.
Let's see.
So we got Benjamin. We got, let me just get the easy ones out of the way. We got Kacho. We got Fugetsu. We got Mariam, right? We got Wobble. We got Serednich. Zhonglei, right?
Yep.
Camilla?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Tubepa. We got Sale.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's 2 more. No, 3 more.
4 more.
4 more. This is where it gets tough. Hulkenberg. This is where the mind flips up. Tyson.
2 more.
2 more.
Who's the first one that died?
Oh no.
Oh,
was it?
You can do it, I believe.
I want to say Morena.
No, Morena's the.
Who's is that?
Morena's the leader of Haley.
Oh, you're right. That's Morena. Okay. Oh no, that first one's gonna get me, I think.
It does start with an M though.
Okay. I'm gonna be real. I don't know if I'm getting it.
What about the other one you're missing?
Losers.
Hey.
Yeah.
You got it. Okay, just the one. You don't remember?
Just the one that died immediately, and I didn't have a chance to really connect with. So I'll take it. Yeah.
All right. Mimose.
Fuck. Okay.
You did amazing though. That was great, Dylan. Good job.
Thank you. I did not try to prepare, but I'm glad I got through it. Most of it.
Excellent job. I do not blame you for forgetting Mimose either. I mean, she wasn't around for very long.
No, not at all.
Okay. Well, with that out of the way, we will... Oh, yeah, I also do want to mention that we're going to talk about what we're doing in the off-week episodes at the end of the show, so stay tuned for that if you're curious about what we're doing. But now, let us talk about our final volume. Welcome to the volume recap for volume 38, Founding. So, the cover this week, Gon.
It cracks me up every time I see it. Why is he here?
He's here for some reason. No significance whatsoever, but that's okay. Not the first time this has happened. I mean, we got Kurapika and Leorio covers and Chimera Ant, so I mean, he loves to do this shit.
Yeah,
so let him be.
Yeah,
it's a nice cover. I like it a lot.
No, I like it too. It's simple but effective. It's Togashi artwork. Can't really complain.
Exactly. We do also open with a color page, which is a really cool one. Probably not so much to you, Dylan, I guess, but I mean it's still cool to look at.
Yeah.
But we got Gon and Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho on the cover with some weird horrific monster in the background.
So like that. That's not even like from you.
No.
Or anything. Okay. It's just
that's
there.
just a thing. It appears to have like the the succession contests like urn at the top of its head though.
Yeah, you're right. Huh.
So I don't know what that's about, but yeah, it's cool to see Yusuke again.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not familiar with him really, but I do know Yu Yu Hakusho, and it is Togashi work, and I respect it a lot, so it's cool to see.
Yeah, very cool. All right, so we open up with Clash Part 2 after 4 years of waiting.
It's still
Hope it was worth it.
That was still such a weird ending off point for a hiatus.
It was very weird to end in the middle of a whole thing. All right, so we open with a crowd reacting to the guards from last time who seemingly shot themselves in the head, but we know it was from Henry's ability from the snakes. Zakuro says that he and Lynch will keep looking for Hisoka as planned. Henry tells them to contact him first before doing anything if they find Hisoka. He adds that he plans to track down the female Haley member from last chapter and hopes to lure out even more members while doing so. So if you remember last volume, they kind of pursued these two members and then they ran away after the whole thing happened.
Yeah.
They part ways and Zakuro uses his ability causing numerous drops of blood to move along the wall. Lynch says that she will never get used to how gross it is, but Zakuro is saddened by her reaction, saying that each drop is doing its best to find Hisoka.
They all have their own personality.
I guess so. Lynch plucks one of them from the wall and tries to squeeze it, wondering how to kill them.
No.
Heartless.
Heartless.
How could you do this, Lynch?
Yeah.
Zakuro asks why she would want to kill one, revealing that they will run out of Nen in 30 to 40 minutes and turn back to normal blood anyway. That's honestly a long time for that to last.
That's a really long time, yeah.
Yeah. Lynch returns to their mission and asks if all she needs to do is punch the information out of anyone suspicious that the drops find. Zakuro replies that she asks the same thing every time and doesn't pay much attention to him. Surrounded by pigeons, Henry approaches a couple and asks to look at their camera to see if he can spot the person he's looking for. He does eventually spot her in one of the photos and then tells the couple that he'll need to confiscate the camera. He takes the camera and uses Biohazard, which, if you don't remember, is an ability that it turns inanimate objects into living objects but retains their functionality. Mm-hmm. He uses that on it to turn it into a cute cat and sets it to record mode. Henry tells himself that it's unlikely that all the Haley members would stay back in the standard cabins, worrying about what they plan to do now that Serenich has cut ties with them. He then wonders if the second track fakers have planned a rebellion, adding that it's a perfect chance for them to make their move after being oppressed for so many years, and guessing that the recent killing spree is training for what's to come. 3 Haley members spot Henry and recognize him as the underboss of the GU family. So these 3 are Pedale, I don't know, he's level 29, Quarrel, level 22, and Tevalaris, something like that. He's level 24. So they all have abilities. That's the important part.
Yeah.
Pedale starts running at Henry while thinking to himself about his dream to be reborn as a weapon, as this would allow him to be able to feel the skin, blood, and flesh as he kills his prey.
Cool dream.
All right.
Cool dream.
That's, quite the dream.
Aims high.
He then turns his right hand into a hammer as he activates his Fistful of Weapons ability. He says that Morena allowed his wish to come true and that he will do everything he can to kill for her sake and his own. He goes in for a strike, but his hand gets caught by handcuffs, where it is revealed that all the pigeons that were following Henry were originally handcuffs. Henry mocks Pedale. How did I say it the first time? Why do I keep forgetting how I pronounced it?
It's kind of a weird one. You can pronounce it a couple different ways, I feel like.
Pedale. It's got 2 L's.
Pedale? I don't know.
Pedale. I don't know. I'll go with Pedale.
Sure.
That's definitely not right, but I'll just say it anyways. And asks if his ability even has a point as he fully restrains him. The other 2 members draw their guns and fire towards the pigeons and Henry, but their shots are ineffective. Henry explains that not only were they handcuffs to begin with, they were also reinforced with aura, so standard bullets won't be enough. Just then, having turned his right hand into a drill to slip out of the handcuff, Pedale lunges towards Henry with the weapon. Henry quickly turns and stops the drill with his left hand, which pierces through it. He realizes that Pedale can create all kinds of weapons with his ability, not just the hammer that he thought. I guess he just thought it just made a hammer, which was kind of a dumb assumption if you ask me. But
that'd be a very dumb ability.
Yeah. Another pigeon suddenly puts a handcuff around Pedale's left ankle and connects it to the free handcuff dangling from his left wrist, restraining him once again. Henry asks what he plans to do now and tells him that his friends seem to be leaving him to his fate. Pedale angrily replies that a chain won't stop him and suddenly turns his hand into an axe to free himself. However, Henry quickly stops him and says that now he gets to feel what it's like to kill and be killed at the same time, slowly pushing the axe into the back of his head as blood drips out from his eyes.
That's
gross.
So yeah, that's very gross.
He wishes he could have done this somewhere more discreet, as he has now caused a panic and will likely be held up there for a while. He says that he is now counting on someone named Misha, which I honestly don't think we ever even see this Misha character, but he says he's counting on him. Or maybe... no, never mind. That's okay. I see later ahead who that is.
Oh,
do you remember who that is?
Vaguely, I think.
Okay. Yeah,
we'll find out when we get there.
We only see her this one time. We then see Quarrel and Tavalorus, whatever, the other two, running away as Quarrel wonders what they should do now, given how troublesome the pigeons are. Tavalores replies that he'd rather not get tortured over the location of their hideout and says that they should ask Morena for instructions. And then we never see them again.
Fantastic job naming them for this instance only.
Maybe they'll be back. A crowd gathers around where Henry and Pedale... how did I say it? Why do I keep forgetting?
You keep
Is
saying,
it Pedale?
Yeah, you went with Pedale as like just...
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so hard to remember, even in the short term. Henry and Pedale, where they fought, a crowd gathered. Pedale somehow rises to his feet with aura swelling around him and stands beside Henry. 3 soldiers approach the two and ask Pedale if he wants to press charges. Pedale assures them that they are cool now.
Oh, yeah. Got an axe pushed into his neck.
Yeah, no big deal.
Sometimes you just gotta push an axe into a homie's neck, you know?
Yeah, that's all you need sometimes. One soldier recognizes Henry as the GU underboss, and Henry confirms it, saying that Pedale is only a civilian. After telling Pedale that he is free to go, the soldier warns Henry that they won't be able to cover for him anymore if he keeps attacking civilians. He then asks in a hushed voice how much Henry is willing to pay for information on the location of the Haley's boss. When Henry replies with 50 million, as long as the information is reliable, the soldier smiles and asks for the money up front, but Henry says he needs to confirm the details first. The soldier points out that he's risking his own life to sell out a mafia boss and needs at least 30 million up front. He explains that when he asked the man to be in charge of Blackwell's wiring about certain workers who were silenced, he told him to be quiet about it. He reveals that they were wiring a room that doesn't appear on the ship's plans, guessing that it must belong to the Haley if the GU doesn't have a secret hideout. Henry tells the soldier to wait there until he gets the money, adding that he has to lead him there himself. After agreeing to the deal, the soldier tells the crowd that they are free to pass and assures them that soldiers will keep watch for a little while longer. As the crowd watches the wounded Pedale walking away from the scene, a woman with a bullet hole in her head is seen riding on his back. She is revealed to be Misha Howe, I guess, a deceased GU member. Previously, the family's undertaker, her post-mortem Nen ability, Zombie Girl, causes her to appear when a member of GU commits murder. She will maintain the corpse until it can be disposed of quietly, and then she disappears.
That's such a
very interesting.
Yeah, for post-mortem Nen especially, that's a really creative use of it.
It is, yeah. Specifically for body cleanup.
Yeah. It's effective.
It is, yeah, it works. Elsewhere, Zakuro and Lynch continue their search for Hisoka. After several failed attempts, they finally spot someone who they are pretty confident is him. Lynch approaches him and punches him, but it seems to have no effect. And instead, she's the one that ends up on the ground.
She's an idiot.
Yeah. Hisoka apologizes and says that it was a reflex, and then asks Zakuro what they want with him. Zakuro is visibly frightened and nervously asks if he is indeed Hisoka. Hisoka says that he thought he was the one asking the questions here. Not wishing to mess with him any further, Zakuro tells him that the Mafia is after him and he's welcome to go with them if he wants to know more. Hisoka smiles.
I gotta say,
we seemingly have Hisoka here.
Yeah. He cleaned up really well, I gotta say.
Yeah.
He looks very different.
Now, there is something I want to bring up, as I'm sure this will be brought up in future episodes. There are theories out there that this is not Hisoka. Because anytime he's asked, I think twice, if he is indeed Hisoka in this volume, and he doesn't respond either of those times. So it's really interesting. We'll see.
Okay, sure.
There's more details about those theories we can talk about in a future episode, but it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, that is interesting to think about. That's a detail that you would maybe look past, but maybe Togashi has hidden meanings behind that, him not responding directly. So we'll see, I guess.
I personally think he is actually Hisoka, but there's some valid theories out there that I'm not sure.
I mean, yeah, I think he is too, just based off my gut, but I guess I can't discount the possibility that it's not him. So
yeah, we also never see him use his ability, but I mean, he hasn't fought yet. He's only in 2 chapters so far. So.
Right, but also I don't know what else would cause what was her name? Lynch to just fall to the ground immediately trying to punch him if it wasn't someone as skilled as Hisoka.
It could be someone equally as skilled who is just disguised as him. Who knows?
Yeah, but I don't know who that'd be. So that's, I don't know, interesting to think about.
Yeah. Anyways, elsewhere on the ship, an old woman at a small kiosk tells Sudonke, a member of the Cha-R family, that gunshots were apparently heard in Area E's Plaza, describing the situation with soldiers, the GU family, and civilians. Giving money to her for an item, Sudonke wonders if she has heard anything from the military, and the woman replies that there's most likely a gag order in place, worried about an all-out war starting. She adds that while the grunts on the lower tiers will talk for the right price, they won't have any information worth buying. Sudonke then asks if she has any autograph paper. The two of them have a wildly long conversation about how to get autograph paper, and I'm not going to talk about that because, wow, I don't know why we needed to know all that.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know if we want to show an edited version of the panels on the screen for the YouTube version or whatnot, but it was actually one of the longest pages I've ever seen in terms of dialogue.
Yeah, and they were just talking about how to get autograph paper and shipping routes to and from the ship and how merchandise even gets there to begin with. It's wow, Togashi, I don't know if I needed all that, man.
This is peak Togashi being so very interested in world building. Mm-hmm. But was this necessary? I'm not so convinced, I
don't think, if it turns out to be, if we need to know these shipping routes and stuff at some point in the future, I'll apologize out front for not including it here, but I mean, I'm not gonna take the gamble. I really don't think it's gonna be important.
It's funny though. It only lasts for a couple pages, but it's it's the longest 2 pages you'll ever read. There's some pretty long pages in this volume too. That's true. But at least those are kind of interesting.
More interesting than this at least. Yeah. Oh no, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I appreciate the world building effort, but it's just I don't think we need to know that, man.
Yeah, I'm in line.
Anyways, after thanking the old woman, Sudonke regroups with the members of the Cha-R family and tells himself that he needs to look out for a suspicious man over 6'2", saying that he has 4 days to find Hisoka so that he can ask for autograph paper as his reward. He's obsessed with that autograph paper. A Cha-R family member tells Wang that someone clashed with the GU in Area E's Plaza, adding that Henry was apparently involved. After saying that they will head there now, Wang addresses Sudonke and his men, telling them to look for more information up to Area C if necessary, and to report their findings to the troop back at the office. Once the 4 members leave, Wang worries about the troupe staying back at the office, having hoped that they would split up once they started their search of Tier 4. He has that they are smart enough to wait for the Haley hitman to arrive since he has already fulfilled the marking conditions of his ability. This is the Crescent Moon Killer from 2 volumes ago, actually, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He also praises their assessment of the 3 mafia families and their realization that the key to finding Hisoka was using hitmen. He then wonders if it's better to leave the troupe to the Haley and to focus on finding Hisoka. Wang then remembers that what Itoku, this is the old woman that Franklin talked to also 2 volumes ago at the lunch table, said about the troupe planning to loot Tier 1 after they kill Hisoka. Unsure of all the variables involved and advising him to eliminate them one at a time. After telling himself that Hisoka should be their first priority, he addresses several Cha-R members and says that Ji-Yu will have an advantage if the civilian they encountered was Hisoka. He stresses that finding Hisoka is their top priority and that they will use him to crush both the Haley and the troupe in order to maintain balance. It's that whole balance motif again.
Mm-hmm. It's all about balance.
They're really into that. Yep. He reminds them that they know nothing of the Haley besides their boss and orders them not to approach Hisoka until he arrives. He says that if he or Henry successfully negotiates with him, they can simply sit back and watch while the troupe and the Haley fight each other. Wang then says to himself that if Hisoka is capable of destroying the troupe, it would be much easier to let them fight each other. However, he worries about Hisoka's unpredictable nature and mentions that based on the footage of his fights in Heaven's Arena, he seems to prefer fighting under unfavorable circumstances.
Good observation.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. In the Cha-R's office on Tier 5, Nobunaga and Finks are seen sitting across from one another while Phaeton reads a magazine in a nearby bunk bed. As a Cha-R member watches surveillance footage, Nobunaga suggests getting Franklin and splitting into teams of 2 to search outside in shifts. Finks guesses that he would turn them down since he hates cramped places, but Nobunaga replies that he will team up with Franklin while the 2 of them stay here. Phaeton says that even though the enemy will be reluctant to attack the 3 of them together, they shouldn't lose their patience. In the front room, several Cha-R members hear a knock at the door and wonder if the search team is back. But the member watching the surveillance footage tells Vic not to open the door as he quickly asks the troop members to come and look at the monitors.
So, I want to make a comment here. It was at this point where I noticed does Phaeton have like an accent of some kind? Because the way his dialogue is written was very different.
Yeah, it's something I always forget about whenever I go away from Hunter x Hunter and I come back to it. But yeah, Phaeton, he kind of talks like a caveman. Like he can't speak very well. And given, what we learn later about their upbringing, I guess it makes sense. He just kind of never properly learned how to talk, I guess.
Which is
my assumption.
Yeah. Which is interesting coming from an anime-only perspective, because I feel like he talked very normal in the anime, or at least that's what it seemed like. But maybe...
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. I'd have to go back. Phaeton isn't a character you really see a whole lot, so I can't exactly remember or imagine in my head how he spoke.
Yeah, maybe I'm misremembering the actual like words that are being like subtitled through like the episodes that he's talking in. But like even just like the way he talks, he doesn't come across as like, being not proficient in like Japanese or whatever. So it was an interesting observation, kind of a like whoa moment to me whenever I got to him actually speaking.
It's also interesting because he's definitely not stupid at all. He's actually pretty smart. He doesn't talk well.
No, yeah, so that was an interesting observation for me.
Yeah, it is interesting. I'll have to look into that. Maybe we can talk about that in the next episode if I find anything interesting about that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So an arm is seen coming through an opening as the person knocks on the door. Fink says that he wasted a good opportunity for a surprise attack by announcing himself like that. The member points to another monitor and sees that the search team is returning. However, when they open the door to the front room, they find no one there, with Finks realizing that they must have been taken. An opening suddenly appears on the door, and Luini, the killer from 2 volumes ago, the Crescent Moon Killer, slowly reveals his face, telling the troupe that they are acting so out of character since they should be betraying the Cha-R and using their door to take to the upper tiers so that they can kill all the rich people. Finks finds this ridiculous, and Phaeton asks if this dude even knows anything about them to begin with. Luini tells them that their Wikipedia page says that they are diabolical thieves, so it must have been over-exaggerating. He asks if they'd like him to edit their page for them. Nobunaga quickly draws his katana and tells him to also add the line that they show no mercy to dudes that piss them off.
So hard. I love Nobunaga.
He's the best. Luini says that his intention wasn't to fight them, and he even says he wanted to work with them to take down the other mafia families. However, Nobunaga doesn't give a shit and stabs him straight through the head.
Just like that.
That's it. Goodbye, Luini.
You lived a very, for a very pitiful amount of time, all things considered.
Yeah. Sudanki returns and asks what happened, to which Nobunaga tells him that the guards were killed, but they were able to kill the person who killed them. This makes Sudanki even more of a fanboy, and he decides that he will get an autograph from each of them.
Good luck, bro.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Elsewhere on the ship, several Hail members look at the bottom half of Luini's corpse up against the wall.
Yeah, because I guess half of him was like half through it. And so when he dies, and then stops working. And
so like cut him in half. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's very funny. Okay, so we're gonna get a lot of names here. I wrote them all down. Whatever. I don't even know why I did, but here they are. I'll try my best to pronounce them. I don't think any of them are too crazy.
Make sure to leave a comment about how you appreciate Caige's effort for this.
Yeah, please do. So first, we got a construction worker named Damon. He's level 20. He points out how much Luini's loss will affect them since he allowed them to hunt for prey from the hideout. That's a good point, actually. Yeah, that's probably a big loss for them because they can't get around as quickly.
No, yeah, way less mobile.
A professional gamer named Gelato, who is level 19, adds how dangerous it would be now since the military is on high alert. An investigator's assistant named Perigord, who is level 18, suggests that someone should recreate Luini's ability. And an arcade employee named Bill?
I don't know, man. This is
level 20 says that he has already decided on his ability. Perigord reminds them that Morena said that everyone has an innate type. Confident that Luini was an emitter, Bill replies that an emitter needs to do the job. But Gelato points out that they need to figure out how to raise their level so they can reach level 21. An emitter and human trafficker named Voconte, who is level 26, suggests using his door ability to catch prey that wander into the trap, adding that they have ways to reel them in. That guy is back. Tevalares, the guy from earlier. And Quorol then enter the room with the latter wondering if there are any emitters since they need someone who can create projectiles. I think they're talking about how to deal with the pigeons specifically. Yeah. I might have forgot to note that. As Perigord comments on the popularity of emitters, a college student named Matt Vare, who is level 18, happily says that he wants to be an emitter and plans to make a firearm, with Gelato commenting that you don't get to choose what type you are. Quorol asks if he can handle handcuffs turned into pigeons, leaving Matt Vare confused. After Tevalaris, I hate these names, bro. I'm going to lose it.
These names are insane. This is
rough.
Yeah.
Explain that Henry killed Pedale with his ability, and they need to destroy pigeons at a distance. Matt Vare replies that he would need to try it to know for sure. Gelato, Tevalares, and Quorol then enter a separate room and explain the situation directly to Morena, who emphasizes that they need to analyze their opponents and use creativity. She explains that they don't need to rely on an emitter if they can restrict the enemy or their ability. She then gives the example of an ability that tells one how many hits are needed to defeat an enemy, comparing it to a game. Quorol realizes that she's the game master for a reason, and Gelato says that she will keep the idea in mind if she turns out to be a conjurer. Morena asks if she wants to know her type, but Gelato says that she wants it to be a surprise. There's a lot of future Nen abilities being anticipated here. Who knows how that'll pay off?
Yeah, it could pay off in any way imaginable, honestly. So I'm not trying to think about it too hard, especially in relation to all of these different people introduced.
So many.
Yeah.
Back in Tier 3, Zakura wakes up in a pile of trash next to Winch.
It's Zakura realizes those of them.
Yeah. They realize that they were both knocked out by Hisoka and that he is more dangerous than anyone they have ever met. They both agree to let Henry know his location right away. They find him and tell him that Hisoka is in a movie theater. Henry and many other members all go to the theater and surround Hisoka, with Henry taking a seat directly next to him. He sits down and asks the man if he is indeed Hisoka, and he simply smiles in response. Henry moves on to a request and asks if he could spend his time in Tier 1 until the conflict with the Hailey and Cha'ar is resolved, offering a room in the VVIP area. Hisoka wonders why, and Henry explains that the Cha'ar and the Troupe have joined forces against the Hailey and that their family is working with the Cha'ar to destroy the Hailey. He warns Hisoka that if he starts a fight with the Troupe, they will have no choice but to consider him an enemy. Hisoka replies that he doesn't mind since he likes chaos, but Henry reveals that he would prefer not to fight them since he knows the Mafia would have no choice or no chance against him or the Troupe. Henry emphasizes the importance of balance and tells Hisoka to be patient while the Cha'ar and the Troupe destroy the Hailey, assuring him that they won't come between him and the Troupe. Hisoka then asks who he thinks will win between himself and the Troupe, and Henry apologizes and says that he's a Spiders fan. Hisoka asks for his favorite member, and Henry replies that he likes all of them.
Good answer.
Yeah, asking Hisoka for his, which causes him to laugh and say that he doesn't dislike he doesn't dislike honest people. Hisoka extends his hand to take the VVIP pass, but quickly pulls it back. He explains that he won't refuse a fight with the Troupe if they attack him first, and Henry agrees to the deal.
So this is interesting, because assuming this is indeed Hisoka, he'll be on Tier 1 with all of the other stuff going on with the Succession contest, and that is a very interesting thought to have in mind going forward.
It's super interesting, because I don't know what he can do there, because his goal was with the Troupe, and obviously none of the Troupe is on Tier 1 yet, at least.
I think it's likely that he and Karapika maybe even collude on some stuff if they end up running into each other.
It's possible, but dude, oh my god, if Hisoka gets to Karapika though, if Karapika even learns the Troupe is on this boat, that is gonna derail everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Oh my god! But Hisoka wants that. He loves that shit.
He literally says in here that he likes chaos. So, yeah, that'll be something to think about for these next upcoming 20 chapters.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah. Keep that in the back.
Yeah, this is about all we've seen of Hisoka so far. Right here, actually, is the end of his involvement. But we've seen him now.
Yeah, we have seen him. We know he's going to Tier 1 most likely from this deal. So
yeah,
keep that in mind going forward, everybody.
Elsewhere on Tier 3, as a soldier waiting for Henry wonders what's taking him so long, he spots Wang and several Cha'ar members approaching him. Wang notices several drops of blood on the floor and comments on the recent conflict. The soldier explains that Henry clashed with a civilian and that they could have handled Henry over to the police if the civilian had cooperated, but Wang highlights their connection and bribery. The soldier tells him to stop his accusations and leave, but Wang wonders why a corporal would be standing guard instead of a regular soldier and wonders what he's planning with Henry. The corporal reveals that Henry wanted information on the Hailey's hideout and tells Wang that he can also make an offer for the intel. Wang quickly agrees to match Henry's offer and tells his subordinate to bring him 50 million in cash. The corporal is unsure whether Henry will agree to it, but Wang assures him that they are working together to crush the Hailey since a second-track faker has gone too far, and they have received approval from Serednich. I don't know why I wrote the Serednich.
I mean, he's the Serednich.
The Serednich, yeah. He tells the corporal to report to every potential Hailey member they spot, and that they will give 5 million to the finder and his corporal, adding that they will set up a culprit for the murders, and he will provide the eyewitness testimony. The corporal agrees to the deal as long as they eliminate every Haley member, since he doesn't want to worry about retaliation. Wang puts on a haunting smile and assures him that they will deal with every last one of them. The corporal recognizes this as Frosty Grin Smile Zero and nervously wonders if everyone he smiles at dies. But Wang calls it a rude rumor and points out that everyone dies eventually anyways.
I love that a smile has like a title as if it's like a special ability.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's some like rumor, I guess, that spawned
Frosty Grin.
Frosty Grin. Smile Zero. Sick. Connelly. I'll go with Connelly.
Sure.
Connelly, a GU lieutenant, approaches with a bag full of money and says that they can get started once their money and Henry arrive. The corporal leads the mafia members to room 3101 in the first-class cabins. And Henry asks if every room has the same layout. The corporal explains that the worker told him that it was the only room without a bathroom wall, adding that the plumbing space is behind it, but the access panel is elsewhere. He then says that if there's a wall back there, if there's a wall there now, it should confirm that there's a hidden room. Wang points out that anything could be back there since it's at the edge of the ship. Henry tells the corporal to make contact since they shouldn't attack a soldier, but still advises him to leave his safety off. The corporal knocks on the door and announces that the Kaige army has received a tip and needs to search the room. An old man slowly opens the door and assures them that he hasn't done anything wrong. Readying his weapon, the corporal tells the man to back away slowly and sit down on the bed with his hands raised. However, when the corporal enters the room, Henry and Wang look inside to see that he has disappeared. Still sitting on the bed, the old man is surprised he wasn't alone, and says that they don't look to be military, assuring them that he hasn't done anything wrong again and politely asking them to come inside. The two underbosses remain outside the room, and Henry asks where Corporal Maison is. The old man replies that he may have gone to the bathroom, and again asks them to come inside. However, Henry suddenly throws a knife past the old man's head and notices that it didn't disappear. He tells the old man to come to them, and the next knife won't miss, with the old man quickly complying and again saying that he hasn't done anything wrong. Henry threatens him first before suddenly throwing a knife into his right thigh. The old man screams out in pain, yeah, no kidding, and falls to the floor, wondering what's wrong with him and repeating that he's a defenseless old man. Henry points out that there's no blood and asks where his real body is, threatening to attack it. The old man reveals that he used to be an insurance scammer and that the more honest people would believe his injuries, lamenting how times have changed. I think I fucked up the sentence, but whatever.
Basically, if people more honest would believe his injuries, I guess. Yeah.
Henry asks where his body and the corporal are, but the old man chuckles in reply as he disappears into thin air. Two GU members are taken aback and realizes that the old man has powers like Henry. Wang reminds Henry that he already has found Hisoka and suggests that they send the troop to eliminate the Haley at their hideout. A shorter ZU member named Tassi begins walking towards the room to pick up the knife, but before the others can warn him, he enters and vanishes right in front of them.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Henry says that it's probably the same person who is abducting their members, but Wang points out that the hitman was killed by Nobunaga. With Henry left surprised, Wang adds that even though the troop members left their office, the hitman's head and torso remain there, revealing that the troops' declaration to eliminate the Haley, or revealing the troops' determination to eliminate the Haley. As Wang adds that they can also handle the trap in front of them, Henry tells himself that he will follow up on his own leads. Elsewhere, Tassi is left confused as he finds himself standing in front of a closed door. Biele, that guy from earlier, suddenly appears behind him and stabs him in the neck with a small knife, celebrating the fact that he has now reached level 21. 3 other members congratulate him as Matt Vare hands him a cup to perform the water divination test. Biele hopes to be an emitter, but is left disappointed when he turns out to be a conjurer. In a different room filled with clothes, an emitter named Terrabellum, who is level 21, drops off Tassi's corpse and tells 2 female members that Voconte said he directly connected the room to the processing area. They will all be reaching level 21 soon, and one member happily begins to remove Tassi's clothes as the other prepares to dismember his body. Cool.
Poor guy. Just went to go pick up a knife for his leader, essentially, and then just dies and gets dismembered immediately.
Yeah, horribly dies.
Ugh.
The first is a seamstress, ornament factory worker, and conjurer named Chiffon Toto. Level 6, I guess. Involved in body disposal. The other is an animal feed factory worker and conjurer named Montblanc Toto, who is level 3.
Sure.
So many names.
Yeah.
And even more to come. Oh my god, so many more.
This is a wild one for new characters.
In Morena's office, one member tells her that the butler they left in the VVIP area as a liaison, that's how you say that word, correct? Yes,
I think so,
I believe so. To Serenich has gone quiet. With 4 members standing in front of her, Morena guesses that Serenich may be onto them and adds that their hideout will be discovered soon based on nice one. Okay.
Nice one.
That guy's report. She proposes bringing one of Serenich's personal soldiers over to their side, revealing that one of them will go with Dogman. Hey, an easy one. He was level 36. Yeah. To capture a guard. After Montver, who we've already met, I don't know why I wrote down his level again, says that he would prefer to be the organ. That's a phrase we'll hear again also. Mm-hmm. A back alley doctor, hitman, and manipulator named Sodom, level 31, volunteers for the mission. Morena says that while Serenich will want to deal with her personally for betraying him, it's unclear when and how he will make his move since the succession contest is still ongoing. She reveals that she wants to infect someone on his side with contagion so that she can track his movements. She gives them a list and tells them to bring any soldiers they find to the hideout, adding that they should use door C since they can no longer use room 3101. She then tells Orarge and Yokotani to guard the door in shifts, adding that they should invite Serenich's soldiers to the hideout if they see any of them. A waste disposal contractor and enhancer, Orarge, whatever I said before, who is level 21, says that dealing with Benjamin's soldiers will be difficult, wondering if they can turn them away on legal grounds. A corrupt lawyer and conjurer named Yokotani, who is level 27, continues to smile and says that they cannot. Morena tells 2 other members to return to room 3131 and report back on the situation in room 3101. My god. A hacker and transmuter, Souffle, level 28, wonders how they return to room 3131. A plumber and conjurer, Noter, maybe.
Sure.
Level 24, says that he just got back to the hideout using 3131, and then through the disposal area, aka the laundry room, explaining that they need to do the reverse and go through the laundry room to the processing area, which is the shower room. All of these rooms are like normal rooms in a room. They just kind of repurpose them. Mm-hmm. And then out through the living room. Souffle is left confused and asks for the explanation again, but Noter replies that their confusion will get them killed and wonders what they would do without him. Morena then summons Dogman and tells him that he has the most important mission, asking him to find what she is looking for. Dogman replies that he will need a few more levels, and Morena quickly agrees, telling him to go to the processing area so that he can get past level 50.
So, okay, first off, one, why did he feel the need to add all these levels on top of the new names and give us twice as much stuff to memorize? I have no idea.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Tagashi, you're evil for that, first off. 2, interesting how I didn't even really pick up on whenever I was reading through the chapters that Morena ordered Dogman to go to this new processing area to get past level 50, meaning that the entire reason they're probably dismembering these people that walk in is to repurpose them for getting just farming levels essentially, which is
seems to be the case. Yeah. Not much information on that yet, but one day I assume we'll learn about what's going on there.
Yeah, maybe there's some like revival thing going on that maybe someone has an ability for, and it's just they just use it to farm levels. Maybe. I don't know.
It could be the case. The Haley, there's so many mysteries going on with them right now. That's definitely like some of the biggest questions going into this next set of chapters are all involving them.
Yeah.
The only reason I talked so extensively about that section is because like I just wanted to get those names in, basically. Mm-hmm. And also, I mean, there is some interesting information in there, but it's a lot of meandering and just small details. But whatever, it's in there, and we got through it. Now, here comes kind of a new faction. I don't count this. This is what Rex left a comment about earlier. We'll talk about it later on. I don't count this as a new faction exactly because we already knew the Kakin Royal Army was at play here. We just didn't know any of the members yet.
Right.
But now we get a very long deep dive into them here. So, not quite yet, but coming up here in a second. So Henry returns to the large fountain and recovers the cat from earlier, turning it back into a camcorder and reviewing the footage. Elsewhere on Tier 3, several soldiers break down a door and make sure that everything is clear. 2 soldiers find a body in one of the rooms, and the corporal says that since it appears that to be a Cha'ar member, their forced entry will be justified, and they can contact the central police station to ask for forensics. He tells the soldiers to report that they had to break in because the Haley member resisted arrest and escaped to the room after shooting at them. One soldier says that they have to treat the Haley as regular civilians since they never submitted a member list. So that's how they got away with that. Interesting. But the corporal points out that the room is registered as the Haley's office and that the police will have to treat it as a mafia crime until the culprit is identified. He then worries about the police treating the death of a supposed civilian as part of the conflict, adding that the situation could get out of hand if a clueless career bureaucrat considers it to be a mafia hit on a civilian. The corporal emphasizes that the importance of capturing Morena Prudo before the situation reaches that point, adding that they should hand her over to Serenich before he has to trouble himself with it. He tells his subordinates that while they can sweep Tier 3 with the help of the GU and Cha'ar, they don't want to draw attention from the Royal Army and police, ordering them to carry only handguns during the search. One soldier speaks up and asks about creating a counter-strategy if the Haley have any Nen users among them. The corporal is left confused by the term, and the soldier explains that it's a dangerous power spreading quickly on Tier 1. Guessing that it's the reason why Sareed hasn't handled the situation on Tier 3. The corporal wonders who reported the information to a private second class, and the soldier reveals that they learned about it from Borkson. Quite the name.
Borkson.
A provisional hunter on security detail at the Royal Living Quarters. The corporal recognizes them as a private first class and says that he will request for her to be transferred to Tier 3 as an advisor. The corporal then addresses the soldier as Otokin and threatens to rip his eyes out if he ever abbreviates Serenich's name again.
A little aggressive.
3 soldiers watch the corporal as he continues to berate Otokin, and one says that the body they discovered was already a few days old, guessing that the police and army deliberately didn't find it during the second sweep. Another soldier replies that the police and army use discretion with mafia disputes as long as civilians aren't involved. However, she guesses that they didn't think it was a mafia problem during the sweep, adding that the search at the Haley's office was likely a simple verbal check. The first soldier says that the police are aware of such information and that the coroner will come up with a time a time of death to match the official report. He then wonders about the Hunter Association and explains that if they were to investigate the forensics, the tampering would immediately be revealed and potentially cause the association to question Kakin's investigation before starting their own. The female soldier counters by saying that the hunters probably wouldn't involve themselves in a mafia dispute since their main focus is guarding the princes and providing support on Tier 3, wondering if a mafia conflict would trigger a criminal investigation. By the way, if you haven't noticed, this is a very long scene about military people talking.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And I wasn't sure how much of it to write down, so I just wrote all of it. Because this is one of those things where we're late enough in the thing now where obviously there's no more chapters after this, so I don't know what's going to be important or not. So I just kind of went for it.
Best to kind of get everything laid out on the table just in case.
Yeah, don't want to miss any details. So, however, the first soldier mentions the unpredictability of the seed urn ceremony and that even they didn't learn about it until after boarding, adding that the association might consider eradicating the mafia to ensure security for the princes if they realize the bad blood between the royal family and the second-track fakers. The female soldier realizes that those interests would also align with the Justice Bureau. The first soldier adds that the first prince would also support the eradication of the mafia, concerned that an all-out war between Kaige and the mafia could easily break out if rumors begin to spread. He then explains that based on the massacre of their senior members and letting their new members board the ship as civilians, the Haleys' main goal is to destroy balance, reminding them that the corporal's warning that one lapse in judgment from the head of police could result in the trumpet that begins the war. He adds that it would end up being closer to a riot, and the third soldier says that if the mafia teamed up and managed to win over the lower classes on tier 4 and 5, that they would vastly be outnumbered. Otoken addresses the corporal as Gipper and wonders why he isn't yelling at the other soldiers for constantly talking. Gipper replies that they are actually smart and that he agrees with their opinion, again saying that they need to find Marina as soon as possible. A female soldier, who Otoken addresses as Momoli, says that Otoken has a point since Serenich remains silent despite Marina's rebellion, confident that he would only delay exacting revenge against a traitor if he found a new toy. Gipper guesses that she's referring to the story about Serenich's firearm disassembly and reassembly drill in 7th grade. Why are they doing that in 7th grade?
That's so young. Holy crap.
Saying that he heard the prince broke the academy record after practicing without eating or sleeping. A token clarifies that he said he was playing, not practicing. Wow. Sick bastard.
Yeah, for real.
The first soldier says that after a classmate got into an argument with Serenich during the drill, the prince shot him in the leg after the award ceremony. Yeah, it sounds like Serenich.
Yeah, no, definitely.
The other female soldier remembers the incident, and the third soldier says that the prince replied with a bullet instead of words. Yep, sounds like him.
Yep, that lines up. That tracks.
A token criticizes Serenich's short temper and recounts the other classmates' words to Serenich about accomplishing something first. Momoli replies that logic doesn't work on the prince and tells Otoken that he is probably the only one who can talk back to him without getting shot. Cool.
Yeah, awesome. What an honor.
Gipper then asks the others if the reason the prince hasn't taken action against the Haley is because he's still learning Nen. After saying that it's the best assumption, Momoli suggests waiting for Borkson's arrival to confirm the facts, quickly adding that they can discard the assumption that Marina doesn't use Nen. The first soldier suggests that they make transfer requests periodically, and the other female soldier agrees with that idea. With Gipper left confused, she explains that the plan to eradicate the mafia will be kept classified, and personal soldiers won't be given the time or details. Adding that the passageway between tier 2 and 3 will be limited to the Royal Army once the operation begins. The first soldier explains that they will know if and when the operation has started as soon as their transfer requests begin getting rejected or put on hold. Gipper begrudgingly praises their intelligence and points out that they could have easily joined the prince's guards or the royal army if they were that serious about it. He wonders why they don't apply themselves, and they all answer that it's too much of a hassle. He criticizes their lack of drive and says that he will put in the transfer request for himself. Momoli thinks about Gipper's words and says to herself that if Serenich were her friend, she would be by his side and getting on his case. Another soldier says to himself that they can't do anything about the prince's status and nature. The other female soldier says to herself that it's his decision to make and that Serenich is okay with the way things are. The first soldier says to himself that the status quo... I hate that these guys aren't named, by the way. I really looked. Yeah. None of them are named. Not even on the wiki. They're just not named. So
this is actually a part where I'd be interested in learning their names.
Yeah, I would make this part a lot easier to read. But whatever. The first soldier says to himself that the status quo is the best since they aren't just regular friends and their status and situations change. Finally, Otoken says to himself that their friendship seems to take a backseat the closer they get to him, adding that he prefers to stay at the bottom, and loudly asks Serenich if it's really what he wants. A small flashback is then shown of a young Serenich holding a gun after having shot his classmate in the leg. We just get to see that moment. Yeah, Looks rough. Okay, we're still with these soldiers. Oh man,
yeah,
so much.
This is a very long first half of the volume, I gotta say.
Yes, it was. It balances out, but wow. After meeting up with the 5 soldiers, Borkson explains that Serenich is learning Nen from Theta, his personal bodyguard, warning that they will be instantly demoted if they leak the top secret information. Otoken wonders about Nen, but Borkson herself is unaware of it since it's classified, adding that she was planning to investigate it before being transferred. Otoken asks if she's upset, and Borkson confirms it with a smile on her face, chastising him for revealing the information to Corporal Gipper. Otoken replies that they needed to know the details and adds that they were able to propose the transfer request early warning system. Borkson calls him naive and says that Gipper wouldn't agree to switch now that he's moved up, guessing that he's using her as a pretext to restrict communications with the soldiers and the lower tiers in order to prevent information leaks. The first soldier says that while she is most likely right, he thinks there's a 5% chance that Gipper decides to stay in contact with them. Borkson points out that Gipper wouldn't be able to get any information out of Theta anyways, and another soldier asks why Theta would share top secret information with her, even if the two are friends. Borkson replies that while she wouldn't tell her about Nen, something else got her attention. She reveals that after Serenich learned about Nen, both Theta and Salkov began acting strange. However, she says that they will have to do... Ed, get out of here.
Sabotaging the show.
That's my cat for audio listeners. She reveals that after... Wait, sorry, where am I? Was that it?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah, sorry. She reveals that after Serenich learned about Nen, both Theta and Salkov began acting strange. However, she says that they will have to do what they can from the lower tiers, assuring the others that she agrees with their assessment that Morena is most likely a Nen user, and that they should avoid her at all costs to protect their own lives. 2 of the soldiers are happy to see that she is the same person that they always known, but Borkson points out how difficult it will be to avoid Morena while also pretending to look for her. Another soldier says that it should be easy now since they know Morena's face and she doesn't know theirs. However, Borkson replies that she probably does since the tattoo artist who gave them their unit tattoos used to be a Haley member, adding that he only avoided the massacre during Morena's inauguration because Serenich pulled him out in time. She reveals that they were listed in his client database, and the Morena most likely has information on personal soldiers. The first soldier wonders if Nen is really that dangerous, and Borkson explains that while she doesn't know the details, she could tell from Theta and Salkov's reaction that it's comparable to a top secret weapon. Otoken reminds them that he said it was more dangerous than a gun, but the first soldier and Momoli reply that Borkson's words are more convincing. The other female soldier wonders if they are able to learn Nen as well, and Borkson reminds them that she could have investigated the question if she had remained on Tier 1. She emphasizes that the survival is their top priority and that they are at a disadvantage since they don't know anything about the Haley members. She suggests contacting the GU or Char to establish a working relationship as soon as possible. Momoli then asks Borkson whether she would tailor her response if one of them got caught by Morena, and she agrees that they should come up with a contingency plan. Okay, that's the end of
that was a long stretch.
A cocking Royal Army thing. Personal soldiers, whatever they are.
Serenich's friends, question mark?
Yeah, those dudes, who is kind of a new faction, kind of not. Whatever. More characters, regardless. Even if it's not a new faction, it is definitely more characters to remember.
More pieces on the board. Yep.
Yes. Okay. That was a lot. Now on to vastly more interesting things. I want to say, I mean, look, that stuff was somewhat interesting, but it was long, a lot. I wish the information was split up among several chapters instead of just one massive text dump of a chapter.
Yes, exactly. I feel
that's my problem.
And it's especially more it feels worse in contrast with what's going to be happening for the rest of the volume as well, and how much better I feel like it's edited and directed and all that. So
yeah, the first chunk of this volume is kind of rough for me. I won't lie. It's hard to get through. I'm not saying it's bad stuff. It is interesting. It's just the pacing is messed up, man. Like, we do not need to be getting an info dump like that.
Well,
just
it's not
slice up the info.
Yeah, it's not even just that it's an info dump. It's an info dump of a lot of stuff that we can't even be sure will be relevant in the future.
Exactly.
How relevant it'll be. And we don't even get names for the people that would be more important at this point. But to introduce, I mean, but I don't know.
Got a couple of them. Like Borkson, I guess, is the biggest name to remember there. But most of the people that were in Token, that was also a person that talked a lot. But most of the people that are talking throughout that scene are not named, and that's crazy.
Yeah. So maybe I'm just not seeing Togashi's vision right now with those.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's why I wanted to write all this down, because this could be really important. I just don't know yet. And clearly stuff is building. Like, there will be a conflict. These guys are trying to take down the Mafia. So, I mean, that will probably result in something down the line.
Right.
Anyway, back to Henry, who is looking over camcorder footage. He confirms that the Hale Lee family is using teleportation, as he sees two members using the only hallway to enter the standard cabins and somehow entering again hours later from a different direction. Although he considers the possibility of secret passageways, he is confident that they are using a Nen ability to access their hideout. He then makes his way back to Wang, who uses a map of the Black Whale and asks for confirmation that the military is aware of the Hale Lee's official office on Tier 3, and that the room is sealed where Serenich's personal soldiers found the body of a warehouse guard. Hi, Ed. With all soldiers present to confirm the information and add that the Hale Lee weren't at the office. Wang tells them that they have possibly found their secret hideout behind room 3101, and that Nobunaga plans to investigate it with two other troop members. He adds that he and Henry will track the pair seen on the camcorder footage and try to bring them back alive so that they can avoid police involvement. Borkson explains that they are unable to help since the Hale Lee know their faces, but another soldier adds that they can turn themselves in if they end up killing two Hale Lee members. Henry asks if he told the troop about the trap, and Wang says that he did. However, their only response was, "It doesn't matter."
They're those dudes.
Oh, yeah, they are. Ed, come on, man. Okay. In the first class cabins on Tier 3, Nobunaga and Fink stand behind Phaeton as he knocks on one of the doors. A man answers, but they don't really care what he has to say, and they enter the room while Phaeton holds the sword up to the man's neck. Fink suggests that they should start with the bathroom. He explains that since they were told the hidden room was much larger, all the rooms must be connected. A small map shows three members in room 3102 next to the trap in 3101. Nobunaga repeats that he doesn't care about the Hale Lee's trap, but Finks warns him that it could possibly throw them out into the ocean. Although Nobunaga counters by saying that the Hale Lee wouldn't waste the chance at a direct kill. True. Yeah. He agrees with Finks' suggestion to start with the bathroom, unsheathing his katana and swiftly cutting a rectangle-shaped hole out of the wall.
Such a perfect square too.
Yeah, he's skilled.
Yeah.
Phaeton tells the man to enter first, and so he does, albeit against his will. The 3 troupe members enter behind him, and Phaeton guesses that there were people there recently based on the food and drinks left behind. Fink says that something doesn't add up if the Haley were competent enough to detect anyone, or to detect them and escape, wondering why they let a member who was a complete amateur confront them without warning. Nobunaga guesses that they used him as a scapegoat to make sure that the others stay on their toes, adding that they are similar to the troupe, and wondering if they were affected by the members' death. Finks quickly replies that they are nothing alike since they don't allow amateurs and don't want to destroy the world. However, Nobunaga reminds them that they used to be that way in the beginning, saying that the resignation and anger were their driving force. This transitions us into what is easily the highlight of the volume. Welcome to the Phantom Troupe flashback.
Oh, man. I'm waiting. Yes. I was hoping that this would be at some point within the chapters I had to read to catch up, and man, am I so glad to experience it now.
Yeah, this is huge stuff.
Was always looking forward to learning more about the Phantom Troupe's origins, and it's here finally.
Yep. So forget about everything else going on for a moment, because for 3 chapters we're going probably maybe like 20 years in the past, we'll say, something like that.
Something
give
like
or take.
That. Yeah, 15, 20 years, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. All right. So, we open in Meteor City in a junkyard, where some young Phantom Troupe members are rummaging through the trash. They find a VHS tape and are hopeful that it has something on it that they can understand without knowing the language. Uvo then appears and claims that this is his domain and picks a fight with them. Franklin steps in and the two beat each other senseless, while Crollo gets away with the help of Finks and Phaeton, but only in exchange for giving them the tape that he found. Crollo appears to give it to them, however he actually gave him a tape called Learning Gelman, Volume 20. Crollo eventually reaches a large church and makes his way inside. A priest welcomes him back and asks if he is studying videos again. Crollo says that he is and points out that there are more small graves outside. The priest says that they even enter the internal residential zones now to abduct more and more kids who never return, wanting Crollo not to visit the outskirts alone. It's then explained that the people of Meteor City have no social status and don't officially exist, making them prime targets for corrupt individuals. It's revealed that before the city gained protection in exchange for providing recruits for the mafia, hundreds died every year, and 70% of the casualties were children under 15 years old. Man,
that's rough. Yeah.
After their alliance with the mafia, the city's elders eventually developed Nen abilities and established the law of retribution, which stated that only life can pay for life, and that they will accept anything left there as long as nothing is taken away from them. It's finally stated that the Phantom Troupe came into being just as the world began to fear the city of victims, whose humanity no one recognized. Crollo then enters the AV room and runs into Pakunoda, who he puts the tape into the VCR only to discover that it appears to be blank. Meanwhile, in the church's basement, Lycerus, who is that priest, I forgot to name him a minute ago, but that's his name, addresses an old bag of bones and tells them that Crollo has great promise based on his curiosity and intelligence, wondering if his ideas could be of use to the elders. This individual replies that it would be wonderful if Crollo could help fix the problems plaguing the city. Yeah, we have no idea who that person is, really.
Yeah.
Just some old bastard. I don't know.
Connection to the elders of the city. I
guess. Sometime later, Pakunoda is surprised to see the mighty sweepin' power cleaners on the television. Hell yeah.
I love that so much.
And Crollo says that the mighty sweepin' power cleaners are popular all over the world, guessing that the VCR was programmed wrong and explaining that he fast-forwarded about 10 minutes past the static. Pakunoda excitedly suggests inviting everyone and watching it together, even though it's in a different language. But Crollo points out that it would be more fun if everyone could follow the story, asking her for a favor. Crollo suggests that they do a dub of the show. Ooh. Since he knows the language that they are speaking, he can translate it and the others can do the voices. Paku says yes, of course, and she also says that she'll recruit 2 other people named Sheila and Sarasa to help record the voices too. Chrollo is very excited about this and tells Paku that he loves her. So sweet. Just That's a whole, not like a confession of love, it's just like friendship love.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Very sweet.
So she goes and meets up with the 2 that they were previously mentioned, and they both agree to do it as well. During the scene, we also learned that Sheila aspires to be a hunter. Paku returns to Chrollo with the others and finds that in the time that she was gone, Chrollo has already completed the script. Chrollo then tells them that he will be doing all of the other voices since he doesn't want the secret of them doing this to get out. Sheila tells Paku and Chrollo that... Sheila tells Paku that Chrollo should have been born someplace else, and she agrees with that statement.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll notice Chrollo is a very sweet kid. It's... makes it all the more sad.
He has so much... Yeah, he has a lot of good intentions at heart.
Yeah. Much like Gon, honestly.
Yeah. He's not so different at this age, at least.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Meanwhile, on the outskirts of the city, 3 men step out of a van as 3 children are seen in the back with coverings on their heads and their wrists bound with rope. They eventually close the doors and the van drives off. Scumbags.
Yeah, for real.
It's now the day of the showing, and all the children are gathering outside the church. Uvo comes up from behind Chrollo and taunts him by saying that he's looking forward to after the showing. Finks and Phaeton then approach Chrollo, saying that they should play soccer together if he survives Uvo's meeting. Sarasa then approaches Finks and asks him to help hand out snacks. Finks angrily wonders why he has to help, but he has a change of heart after seeing the look in Sarasa's eyes. He takes the bowl and tells the rejoicing children to get their snacks if they haven't gotten any yet. He's a softie.
Yeah.
Sarasa gives Chrollo 2 thumbs up and tells him that Finks has a gentle heart, adding that she will take care of Uvo too. Sheila tells Chrollo that he's everyone's little brother, while the youngest, Sarasa, has to protect him. And yeah, that's a constant thing. Chrollo is actually one of the older ones of the group, but he's just like, I guess it's just his personality or something comes off as like a younger brother type.
Yeah, he's also kind of tiny compared to most of the
others. He is, yeah, he's really short.
Yeah.
Chrollo is left embarrassed, and Pakunoda tells him that it's the way it should be. She points out that he brings flowers to the church every day and for the graves, and she says that she likes him just the way he is, and Chrollo thanks her for this. The showing starts, and it blows everyone's minds, to say the least.
Everyone loves this dub.
Yeah, it's amazing. Unfortunately, the video cuts out, and they ask Father Lysaurus what happened, and he explains that the audio track got stuck in the machine. Chrollo doesn't give up there, though. He asks for a mic and does all the voices for the characters he played. The crowd cannot believe he was the one doing all of the voices, aside from the 3 female characters.
He has a lot of range.
Yeah. The other actors come out on stage, and they all dub the rest of the show live on stage, which obviously hypes the crowd up even more. Eventually, the show ends to thunderous applause from all the children. Afterwards, Chrollo meets with Uvo in a forest outside of the church, but before Uvo can even say anything, Sarasa jumps in front of him and says, "Chrollo, you really are amazing. I have a better opinion of you now." Obviously, this stuns everyone, but she says that she was dubbing Uvo. I love that moment. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, that's awesome. I love that.
It's so good, yeah. With the tension broken, Uvo approaches Chrollo and tells him that he wants to voice the monster in the next one.
Fitting.
Other future Phantom Troupe members chime in and say that they all want parts to play in future episodes, ending with Uvo telling Chrollo that what he did today rocked him the most. And the 2 shake hands and smile.
I love this entire part. It was very, very fun and just, heartwarming even. I also want to point out, though, I can't name any specific dialogue lines from the dubbing that they did, but I did find it interesting how you can kind of connect a lot of whatever they're talking about in the power cleaners story or whatever, is to like, it kind of reflects their own viewpoint of the world, even, or what they will have, by the end of this flashback.
It's interesting. Yeah. Also, something that's fun to point out is that the red cleaner, he's basically just like an aged up Gon.
Yeah. I thought the resemblance was pretty uncanny to me too, but I wasn't for sure.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so the group is then seen performing together at the church, working on their scripts and making their own props. Machi refuses the role of the good princess and tells Uvo to play her, adding that she will only join in if she gets to be a villain. It's very Machi-like.
Uvo as a princess, I want to hear that.
Yeah. Shalnark wonders if they should recruit more people, and Franklin asks if that makes them an official group. Uvo happily points out that they are a theater company, but Nobunaga says that he thinks of them more as traveling performers. I don't know why you would think that, considering they don't travel, but go off, Nobunaga.
Yeah.
Pakunoda suggests calling themselves a troupe. Wow, look at that,
guys. Whoa, name drop.
But Krollo says that a troupe is supposed to have 1,000 members. I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, whoa.
Uvo tells him not to worry about the details and adds that each of them is worth 100 members. Aw.
So sweet.
The group decides to go with the troupe and says that they just need to find another word to put in front of it. I guess it'll be Phantom. We don't actually get to see them deciding that, but at some point they decide on Phantom. Finks wishes that they could find the rest of the episodes, and Uvo comments on his fruitless search, wondering if any more tapes are out there. Nobunaga suggests that Krollo could write an original script for them to perform like a regular play, pointing out that the audience enjoys watching them more than the screen now anyways. Sheila adds that many of them are watching Krollo, asking for his opinion. He says that it would take too much time and too many resources to put on a performance without a video, since they would have to make the costumes and choreograph all the fight scenes. He says that they still have a 3-episode buffer to think things over, and Uvo suggests that they should try to predict where the show is going to go after the day's rehearsal. Sarasa points out that Uvo seems so into this now, and he says that while he was only doing the bare minimum at first, he now has a goal he wants to reach. Krollo asks him what it is, to which Uvo says that he wants to tour around the world with them in a play and become the best villain in the world.
Ah, man, what a moment.
Oh, Uvo.
He kind of did that to an extent too,
Yeah, in a way. It's something we can talk more about later, but this flashback just adds so much to like the entire series. Like if you go back and like watch through or read through York New again, this adds so much. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It's such a brilliant flashback.
Yeah, I'm really interested in re-exploring that arc in particular at some point in the future.
Yeah,
whatever
absolutely. Later, Krollo asks where Sarasa is, and Fink says that she left since she has sorting duty today. Krollo is worried about her being out by herself, but Shalnark assures him that she will be fine since her community is nearby. They explain that she doesn't need to rehearse, since the Orange Cleaner only has to answer the phone and say her catchphrase in the current episode, adding that she swapped shifts since she will be busier for the next rehearsal. Elsewhere, Sarasa happily walks alone through the piles of trash and says that she can't wait to see the others' faces when she finds a new video, adding that none of them know about the piles of tapes at the corporate dump near Uga Forest. She also says that since she memorized how Power Cleaners is written in the official language, she can easily find the tapes by the title. Inside the van, with 3 child hostages, one of the men says that the residents are becoming more vigilant and suggests ending their hunt in Meteor City since they met their quota. However, he adds that if they find one more, they can have a lot of fun, apparently.
Oh, man.
So, at Meteor City's church, it is announced that there will be another special screening of Power Cleaners. In one of the church's rooms, Shalnark asks if three of the members still aren't there, and Uvo wonders how they haven't shown up with only 15 minutes left. Sheila points out that while Franklin and Nobunaga are always late, Sarasa never is. As the children excitedly wait for the screening to start, Krollo says that he will go look for her, but Sheila tells him that she will help, pointing out that he doesn't know who Sarasa's wet nurses are. In the city itself, one of Sarasa's wet nurses tells them that she hasn't seen Sarasa since yesterday, adding that she thought Sarasa was with them. They then make an announcement that the show has been delayed, and Krollo decides to come out on stage and tell the audience more details. He says that they are going to have to cancel today's show since Sarasa has been missing since yesterday. He continues by saying that there has been an increase in child kidnappings all over Meteor City and blames himself for letting her go home by herself. The audience unanimously says that they will assist in the search for her. Krollo tries to deter them away by saying that it's dangerous, but they don't seem to mind as they chant his name and try to lift his spirits. Krollo is moved to tears by this.
Aww.
Our poor sweet boy.
Yeah.
Currently sweet boy, at least.
He has so much support.
He does. The search party sets off, and they discover her heart-shaped pouch, eventually leading them to Uga Forest. Okay, where they find a bag hanging from a tree with a note stabbed into the trunk. Krollo says that he will go look. Uvo wants to know what the note says, but Krollo ignores him and asks Uvo to get the bag down. He does so, and it falls into Krollo's arms. He opens it and sees the mangled corpse of Sarasa inside, with another note attached to her face.
Wow. The tension, by the way, leading up to this reveal is so palpable. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, it's really just devastating.
Tagashi put, like, his entire life into some of these panels.
Yeah, they are stunningly beautiful panels here.
Mm.
Uvo demands to know what the note says, but Krollo refuses to tell anyone. Uvo picks him up by the collar and yells at him to tell him what it says, but even still, Krollo says that he will never speak of it, even if he tries to kill him. He tells him that if he wants to know, he can learn how to read it himself. With this, Uvo throws him to the ground and storms off. And this was the saddest part to me, dude. Machi wraps her arms around the bag and says that they need to take her home. She continues to say that it must have hurt so much, and she must have been so scared. This stops Uvo in his tracks, and Machi apologizes as Pakunoda and Sheila begin to cry. That's the moment that really gets me, man. Just holding on to that bag, man.
It's so rough, man. It's so rough to read and take in.
Yeah.
It's tragic and sad in all the most horrific ways. She was just a child.
I know. It's horrible.
It's very horrible.
Well, sometime later, the children gather around Sarasa's body, lying in the casket at church, calling her beautiful and saying that it's like she's still alive. Lycerus tells them that it's called embalming, explaining that it's a technique used to restore and keep a person's body as close as possible to how it was when they were alive. He adds that it's a miracle that her body was able to be restored so well given the condition it was in, asking them to thank the embalmer, Miss Renko. Machi looks back to see a mysterious woman dressed in black with a large hat that has pointed ears. As the members put the flowers inside Sarasa's casket and Krollo adds her heart-shaped pouch, Uvo pulls out one of the tapes and says that she should keep it. Machi approaches Renko and asks if she can learn embalming from her, but Renko says no and explains that she does it through the way she does it is through a special ability. Mm. Machi asks if it's related to the light around her body.
Oh.
This surprises Renko as she realizes that Machi can see aura. She then tosses Machi a small piece of paper with a design on it, explaining that she can visit any time if the wet nurses give her permission. She tells her to get on the last bus and ask for Kirimori Valley, adding that if she shows them the piece of paper, they will take her there for free. As Renko walks away, the word aura lingers in Machi's mind. After Sarasa is laid to rest in a nearby cemetery, Chrollo confronts Uvo and asks if he can wait 3 years. He explains that he will have prepared his own power and a proper system for Meteor City before he turns 14. However, Uvo replies that he's leaving to avenge Sarasa's death right now. Chrollo tells him that it would be like trying to find a needle in a haystack and reminds him that he wanted to travel the world together. Uvo angrily says that 3 years won't change anything, but Chrollo quickly replies that it will, leaving Uvo surprised. Chrollo explains that the world is on the brink of a communication revolution and that once the infrastructure is in place, people around the world can be instantly connected at the speed of light. He then describes a place where information from one person can be seen by people all around the world, but Uvo wonders why it matters since the culprits most likely have the footage with them. Chrollo explains that it was a message meant to attract attention and a crime scene created with a specific direction, comparing it to the theater. He adds that there were cigarette butts on the ground where they were standing, guessing that someone recorded the video there. He adds that criminals like them can't resist the opportunity to show off their work to the world. He continues by saying that even with instant communication, there will still exist national borders that control their passage, but that the criminals will find loopholes. He reveals that they will create the loophole for them and that they will use the void within Meteor City to create a place where they can avoid the police. The criminals will come to them, and the criminals will come to them. Uvo seems to understand the plan, but then wonders what he's talking about. Shalnark suddenly appears and explains that Chrollo is talking about making a hideout for criminals with the new technology and then finding the ones they're looking for among the crowd. Chrollo is happy to see him, and as Shalnark says that they will help him, the other members appear from the nearby trees. Shalnark adds that the 3 years will go by quickly and they will have a lot to get ready, explaining that they need the knowledge and means to get close to the culprits as well as the strength and skills to deal with them. As the members continue to talk, a downcast Sheila is seen within the forest walking away from them, likely refusing to embrace the darkness and their misguided plan to avenge Sarasa.
And remember, she was the one that wanted to be a hunter, right? So
correct.
That's interesting. We haven't seen her at all in present day, right? So I can't imagine that she's not around in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see her again.
Yeah.
Chrollo says that they will need something even more important, revealing that they should be prepared to sacrifice their lives to prevent any more victims like Sarasa and the others in Meteor City. He then surprises them by saying that in 3 years, he will kill a lot of people. He knows that Sarasa wouldn't have wanted that, vowing to apologize to her as much as he can if the universe enables him to see her again someday.
Oh.
He vows that he cannot allow the culprits to get away with their crime. He adds that under the current legal system, he can't imagine that they will repent and feel remorse for what they did. Finally, Chrollo reveals that he will live the rest of his life as a villain, one that the whole world will fear. He explains that he will design Meteor City and himself so that low-life scum will never come near him. He looks up at Uvo and asks him if he will help him and become the troupe's leader. However, Uvo tells Chrollo that he is the head, and that if he is the head, he will follow him until he dies. Uvo then raises his arm with one finger pointing up and gestures towards Chrollo, with the other 7 members all agreeing to nominate Chrollo as their leader. Years later, Chrollo is seen addressing the 6 of the 7 members as the spider is born, thus ending this amazing flashback.
Oh, wow. So, yeah. Just a reminder, so there were 7 members not when they were nominating Chrollo, but then he was addressing 6 of the 7 members. Which one was missing again from there?
That would have been Hisoka.
Oh, right, Hisoka.
Yeah.
Right. I forget.
We don't even really know why Hisoka joined, but
just cause, I guess.
Yeah, and he also didn't even technically join, but
true.
Yeah, he was on paper at least a member for a while.
So this was also interesting to me because for some reason this entire time I thought Shizuku was like an original troupe member as well, but no, she's very much isn't. So kind of a new gen Phantom Troupe member.
Yeah, it is interesting.
But yeah, this was an incredible flashback.
You know what? Actually, it might have been her, not Hisoka, because I don't see her in that picture there.
Oh, then yeah, I don't know.
I guess maybe that was her. Yeah, I assumed it was Hisoka, but I guess because how many members? I can't remember how many members there were at the time of York New City, but
it's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's all the founding members.
Yeah, interesting that I don't know. I always thought she was part of the founding members, but it's not the case. So
yeah, I'd like to know how she joined.
Yeah,
interesting.
Same. But yeah, incredible flashback. I loved every bit of it.
Also, Bonelanov isn't one either. I just realized.
Yeah, you're right.
Weird freak.
Kortopi as well.
Or Kortopi, yeah. Anyways, go on. What were you saying?
I was just saying, incredible flashback. I think it added a lot to each of the characters and really connected me even more so to pretty much everybody. So that they all, at least at one point in time, had a heart of gold pretty much. And they were just the victims of really shitty circumstances of life.
Yeah, no kidding. Back in the present now, still held at sword point by Phaeton, the Mafia member asks if he can go back to his room after he opens another door. Fink says no and tells him to go inside once he opens it. He tells Nobunaga that an old man should be inside, but if he isn't, they're safe. Nobunaga remembers that the Mafia said that the old man had a teleportation ability, and Fink says that if they get within a certain radius of his double, they will be forced to teleport, guessing that it's a lookout and trap ability. Nobunaga disagrees by saying that teleportation uses emission, not conjuration, unless the old man is there in person instead of his double. He adds that while conjuration works for creating a room with complex rules in a special space, it's nearly impossible to use it with the ability to send a person somewhere else. He concludes that the old man is just the lookout and that the trap is a different ability, but Fink says that it could involve specialization and tells him that he's rambling. As the two argue over the details, the Mafia member says that the door is locked on the other side, but Phaeton tells him to unlock it, threatening to give him another butthole if he keeps asking stupid questions. The member unlocks it and slowly opens the door to find no one inside the small bathroom. He finds that the next door is also locked and quickly says that he will open it once Phaeton begins to move his sword behind him. With the second door open, Finks wonders who locked it since it's the only entrance to the hidden room. Nobunaga says that the old man does have a double, that if the man does have a double, he could have easily locked the doors to the bathroom and hidden room and then disappeared. Phaeton wonders what the point of it is, and Finks guesses that they needed to stall for time, noting that they knew about the old man's ability and the hidden room beforehand. He says that if they had broken in through the front door, they would have been cautious and guessed that someone was hiding in the bathroom. However, Phaeton points out that they couldn't have entered since the front door is the trap, and Finks comments on Phaeton also talking back. Nobunaga then realizes that the bathroom setup buys them time if someone figures out that the front door is a trap and decides to break through the wall of the next room like he did. Fink says that it makes sense, and Phaeton realizes that breaking through the wall won't trigger the trap, with Finks adding that they can also enter the room or enter from the bathroom. Nobunaga tells the Mafia member that he can go inside with no worries, and after saying to himself that he has no idea what the three are talking about, he walks inside the main room with nothing happening. Finks tells him to walk out the front door, and the member again asks if he can go back to his room afterwards, but Phaeton tells him to come back inside if nothing happens after he walks out. The member walks out, but when Nobunaga tells him to come back inside, he makes a run for it down the hallway. Phaeton instantly appears in front of him and blocks his path, telling him to pick right or left. With the member left confused and terrified, Nobunaga tells him to come back before both of his ears get cut off. With Finks adding that no one loses just their ears once Phaeton starts. Damn. Yeah. The member quickly returns to the room and immediately disappears once he enters. Phaeton says that it activated even without the old man's double. And Nobunaga notes that there are no support objects in the room, guessing that it's a landmine type instead of a barrier. The two types are then explained. The barrier type involves setting up multiple traps over a wider area by supporting the ability's activation with Nen-imbued objects such as rope or paper talismans. The landmine type involves setting up an activation switch directly with Nen at a specific location, and its strength limits it to 2 or 3 locations.
So that was a lot of roundabout ways of trying to figure out if the door was a trap or not, like the front door.
Yeah. A lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
Finks adds that the stronger a landmine type is, the closer the user has to be to the entry or exit point, guessing that the user must be near the place where the victims are teleported and that is most likely their hideout. Nobunaga says that while they could deliberately fall into the trap to reach the hideout, there are more enemies and most likely more traps waiting for them. Finks suggests confirming whether the trap can be activated continuously or just once, pointing out that they can simply wait for the user to appear if they have to reactivate each time. Oh, I made this paragraph way too long. Phaeton then knocks on the door of a nearby room and takes another Mafia member hostage. The man threatens to kill Phaeton and warns that he will say something to the Cha'ar, but Phaeton eventually forces him into the room where he immediately disappears. Nobunaga confirms it's a continuous activation, and Phaeton says that Nobunaga's suggestion is the fastest way, volunteering to enter the trap first. However, Wang suddenly appears in the hallway and introduces Henry as the GU's underboss, revealing that he has a proposal for them. Henry offers to help them locate the enemy's hideout and tells them to postpone their suicide mission until after listening to him. Wang explains that the Cha'ar are following 2 suspected Hail Lee members, revealing that they can trust Henry since he found them and room 3101. Henry assures that the three that the GU family has no issues with the troupe and that the Kakin Mafia values balance most of all, gladly offering to help them if they can destroy the Hail Lee family. Thanking him for the offer, Nobunaga says that they are ready to leave, but Finks doesn't agree with the decision, and Phaeton asks how he knows where the enemy is. Henry reveals a transmitter and explains that he can attach it to a decoy to find out where it goes, but Finks points out that it's a massacre on the other side of the trap, adding that it would take less than 5 minutes for them to kill a civilian passenger, search their body, and find the transmitter. Henry replies that it's why he will use his own ability, revealing his ability to the troupe and changing the transmitter into a raw oyster. He explains that if the decoy swallowed it whole, it wouldn't be found even if they stripped and cavity searched the body. He adds that it will turn back once the aura is depleted, and that it all depends on the size of the object, guessing that the oyster will last around 2 hours. Finks praises Henry's idea since he doesn't want to join Nobunaga and Phaeton, but when he turns around to see which one of them wants to swallow it, both appear to not want part in the plan either. Nobunaga reveals that just the taste of a shellfish makes him vomit, and after a bad case of food poisoning, and Phaeton says that he won't eat food that someone has touched or even breathed on.
Oh my gosh, Phaeton's a clean freak with food.
Yeah.
He's the type that doesn't want his food touching whenever he has like a
yeah, meal. Definitely. Yeah. He gets like the segmented plates.
Yeah.
So Henry just eats it himself.
Fair enough.
Yeah. He pulls out the receiver and explains that it will display the distance to the transmitter and a rough direction. He adds that the closer they get to the transmitter, the sound intervals will become shorter and higher pitched, and the bars of light will get redder, showing them the screen at 0 distance. He emphasizes that while the maximum radius is 1 kilometer, it doesn't take altitude into account, explaining that if the direction is unclear, the transmitter is most likely above or below them. He hopes that he isn't killed or dissected, but says that he will do his best to save the transmitter first, if that does happen. He then hands the receiver to Finks and tells the group that he's counting on them, walking into the room and disappearing. Nobunaga says that he likes how straightforward Henry is, and Finks notices that the receiver changed, guessing that the transmitter is between 500 and 1,000 meters away. One of them wonders how big the ship is, and another says that the length is around 1,500 meters, and both the height and width are 800 meters. Phaeton suggests heading to the center of Tier 3 since the bar will get redder if their hideout is there. Finks wonders if the color won't change if the hideout is on the opposite side of the ship, but Nobunaga quickly replies that it would be over 1 kilometer and it wouldn't even pick up the signal. The two start to argue again, and Phantom gets annoyed. The same routine.
Yeah, they love to argue.
They do indeed. Meanwhile, Henry arrives at the hideout and is shocked to find no one there. Sounds from a nearby door and fresh blood are on the floor. On the floor cause him to stay vigilant, and he worries that they questioned the other victims and found out about them. He suddenly feels a presence behind him and leaps back. Nobunaga emerges and says that he didn't expect no one to be there. Henry wonders why he came. Nobunaga says that Henry's chances of survival will be a lot higher this way. He adds that Finks and Phaeton were skeptical against the idea, having told him to immediately kill Henry if he said something like, "I knew you would come," as that phrase has a double meaning. However, he assures Henry that he never thought he was trying to trick him, since a trap that required them to trust someone they had just met would be too good to be true. Nobunaga asks Henry if he wants to wait or act, leaving the decision up to him and asking for his name again, since he couldn't be bothered to remember it the first time. Henry tells him his name and says that they should act, just because. Okay. Nobunaga likes that logic and begins walking to the wall with just one door on it and places his finger on the wall. He is confident that it's the Haley hideout, but Henry wonders how he knows. Telling him to watch, Nobunaga draws his katana and strikes the wall several times in quick succession. However, the damage quickly disappears, causing Henry to realize that it's protected by Nen. Nobunaga says that conjuration, transmutation, or even specialization could be involved, explaining that a stage prepared by a Nen user can't be easily destroyed. He adds that the usual contract involves the stage being stronger if the user is closer, saying that even his katana couldn't cut it, guessing that the user is inside. Kind of like a domain from JJK.
Yeah, actually.
Elsewhere, Morena is seen with a menacing smirk on her face.
Yep.
It's just like a random shot of her. So
I guess it's kind of implying that maybe she's the one who's kind of controlling the space.
Yeah, in a way, maybe. Well, maybe, because her ability is the game, whatever it's called.
Yeah, but I mean,
leveling system.
It'd be kind of weird if it's just cutting to her like at that moment. Then
it's probably just because it's like her plan. I'd have to imagine something like that. Everything's going according to plan.
I guess. I don't know. Sure.
Henry explains that from the footage he watched, the Haley seemed to use the place as a passageway, saying that it would make sense for their main hideout to also be here. Nobunaga guesses that it will be well defended and suggests searching for their leader. Henry suggests opening all the doors before going inside the main one, and Nobunaga offers to open them from there. However, Henry says that he will do it himself and tells Nobunaga to stay vigilant, explaining that he doesn't want one of them to disappear while the other doesn't see it, and hoping that Nobunaga can figure out what the trigger is. After Nobunaga understands his reasoning, Henry begins to push open the doors one at a time, finding a shower room, a bathroom, 2 toilets, and 1 urinal. Nobunaga wonders if they should wait there for the members to come and do their business, but Henry reminds him that he chose to act, confident that Nobunaga will protect the transmitter even if he dies. He then uses his knife to push open the main door as the two look inside to find what appears to be a laundry room.
I gotta say, Nobunaga is so funny for no reason.
I know. I love Nobunaga. He's the best. Looking inside the laundry room, Henry says that while it looks abandoned, he has a feeling people were there just moments ago. Nobunaga adds that it was the same with the hidden room, and then realizes something, leaving Henry confused. Nobunaga explains that if the Haley were expecting intruders to break through the walls, he should have assumed that their neighbors were working with them. He adds that they used them to check for traps, but blames himself for letting the Haley know that intruders were after them. However, Henry reassures him by saying that even though there were no fresh bodies or bloodstains in the laundry room, the Haley might have restrained the civilians and taken them somewhere else. He explains that they may have decided to hide first and kill them later after questioning them and learning that intruders were after them, adding that they might also have a rule where they evacuate if one of their neighbors is teleported to the hideout. Lastly, he says that it would be safer and cheaper to use one of their oblivious neighbors to alert them than to leave their companions behind. Nobunaga wonders if he's trying to make him feel better, but Hinri stresses that he won't get an answer even if he thinks about it, adding that they should keep their focus on the doors. And by the way, I didn't note it down, but in this room there's like this weird censored blob on the table. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that, and that was really weird. I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, I have no idea. It must just be like some really mangled corpse or something. That's my only guess.
Yeah, maybe. Either way, it's weird that it was never touched on. Like, not even like a simple like, hey, what's that on the table from either of them? Like,
I mean, they're probably used to seeing shit like that if that's what it was.
Right. It's weird that it had no acknowledgement when it was like.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny. I wonder if it's uncensored in the volume release.
Oh, that'd be interesting. Maybe.
Yeah. The two walk towards one of the doors, and Nobunaga says that it seems to be the main one, adding that it's the correct one and will be dangerous if it doesn't open. Hinri finds that the door is unlocked and wonders what it means if it does open. Nobunaga replies that it's definitely the correct answer and will be even more dangerous as aura swells around him. My wording on that was very poor. I apologize.
Basically, if it's locked, it's dangerous and it's the correct one. If it's unlocked, it's also the correct one. It'll be even more dangerous.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hinri slowly pushes the door open with his knife, and the two find 9 Hail Lee members sitting and talking together. As Gelato, Souffle, and Terrabellum have a conversation about something, Hinri eventually gets their attention by yelling and asking them to confirm that it's the Hail Lee hideout, and they are all members. They look in their direction for a sec, but ultimately just continue the conversation as if the two aren't even there.
Just completely unbothered.
Yeah, they don't care. Hinri suggests using one of his knives, and Nobunaga agrees since the door is most likely trapped as well. Guessing that the members are so relaxed because they know the two of them can't go inside. Grasping his katana, Nobunaga says that he prefers to clean up trash as soon as he finds it. I like that line.
Yeah, well.
And Hinri reminds him that he was the one who suggested moving, agreeing with his trash comment and adding that he has plenty of knives to say hello with. Hinri then hurls a knife towards Terrabellum and it pierces his head, causing him to say that it hurt and to stand up from his chair. With a knife sticking out of his head, mind you.
That's crazy.
Souffle cannot believe that it's all the way in his head, but Terrabellum calmly pulls it out, crushing the handle and revealing that the blade is missing. Hinri sees that the blade's tip is inside a soda can that Terrabellum was holding, realizing that his ability must involve matter transfer. Nobunaga realizes this could be a bad match for him, and he wants to know more about how it works, so he asks Hinri to throw another knife towards him to test the waters. Terrabellum dodges and pushes Souffle out of the way this time, as the knife heads straight for Perigord. He calmly puts out his hand and wonders how long it would take for the injury to heal. However, Orage, I don't know, uses an issue of Weekly Shonen Jump to stop the knife and tells Perigord that he should have avoided it, wondering why he's trying to use his ability.
I like
there you go. Detail. Shonen Jump does exist in Hunter x Hunter.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Terrabellum criticizes Souffle for carelessly touching him, and she apologizes before saying that she will leave and reminding them that they shouldn't fight here. Ararge reminds Perigord that he has already been chosen as the organ, and that Morena told him to keep his head down. Perigord remembering and apologizing. Yoko Tani, who is that investigator assistant or whatever from earlier, speaks up and confirms Hinri's identity, introducing himself as the Hail Lee family's lawyer. Yoko Tani explains that they have committed both trespassing and assault, which is as close as they can get to attempted murder. He asks if it's okay to report it to the police, and Hinri says that it's convenient since they're lost, wondering where they are. Yoko Tani replies that he can't reveal that and agrees to keep things civil if they follow his instructions. Nobunaga then gets his attention, and Yoko Tani recognizes him as a member of the Phantom Troupe, saying that it's a big deal for them. Before Yoko Tani can finish asking a question, Nobunaga uses a chain attached to the end of his katana to stab his head. However, Terrabellum is seen with his right hand on Yoko Tani's shoulder, and when Nobunaga pulls back his katana, he sees that the tip is missing. Realizing that Terrabellum can move the damage from other people as well. Blood begins to stream down Terabellum's left arm as he tells Yokotani to stay back. Nobunaga says that if Terabellum doesn't transfer the damage he receives with his right hand to something else with his left hand, he will receive the damage himself. It's then explained to us that Terabellum's emission ability, Sweet Home, allows him to displace damage along with the attacking object. The damage to something touched by his right hand is taken into Terabellum himself, and it can be transferred to something when he touches it with his left hand. It only works if he is touching it the moment the damage is received.
Makes sense?
Yep, it's a pretty straightforward one, honestly, all things considered.
Yeah, Nobunaga figured it out flawlessly.
He did. Nobunaga tells Terabellum to stand back and tells Yokotani to come closer again, promising to skewer all of them as the aura surrounds his katana. Yokotani apologizes and says that he didn't expect Nobunaga to abandon the spirit of a samurai, and Terabellum criticizes him for getting close to the enemy so carelessly. Yokotani realizes that he's the reason why Terabellum's ability was exposed and wonders how he can apologize, explaining that the samurai of his homeland were against the use of projectile weapons. Terabellum wonders if he will keep making excuses, and Yokotani quickly apologizes before saying that he will disappear for a while. However, Terabellum tells him that he will make the intruders disappear, reminding him that he is identified himself to them and that he is a guard. Yokotani then activates his conjuration ability, LSDF, which is explained to be a defensive ability that can only be used at the hideout where Morena is located. It activates when Yokotani identifies himself to an intruder who has broken the law, and while the guards he conjures cannot harm the criminal's attacks are also ineffective. The more serious the opponent's crime, the higher the level of guards Yokotani can create. With what appears to be a massive amount of aura swelling around them, 7 puppets appear behind him and identify the 2 criminals, charging them with trespassing and attempted murder as they reach alert level 4. Yokotani confirms the sentence and orders them to be expelled from the premises. As puppets run forward, Nobunaga readies his katana and strikes one of them. But it takes no damage and reaches the maximum alert level as its aura increases. Nobunaga realizes that its aura has been enhanced and tells Hinri that the puppets are most likely invincible since the 2 of them already met the condition of his ability. The puppets swarm and restrain Nobunaga, with one of them even confiscating his katana. Nobunaga tells Hinri to run since the puppets are on autopilot and won't stop until they remove him as well. The puppets carry Nobunaga out, and he is eventually teleported away, with Yokotani confirming his expulsion and adding that they have one more target. As the puppets sprint towards Hinri, Yokotani tells him that he also has 2 attempted murders with willful negligence and that he will be expelled, asking him to give up and leave. Based on the teleportation traps and invincible type users, Hinri is confident that it's the Halei's main base, returning to the laundry room and closing the door behind him. As the puppets pound on the door, Hinri tells himself that he will use Nobunaga's advice and hide the transmitter there since the puppets are on autopilot and the user won't be able to see what he's doing in the room. He then puts 2 fingers in his mouth and makes himself vomit up the transmitter. Back in the original room, Nobunaga realizes that entering from the front door teleports someone to the hideout, and entering from the door of the hideout teleports someone to room 3101. He adds that the Halei can kill 2 birds with 1 stone since it acts as a trap and secret passageway. However, he says that there has to be a jump point that only members can use, wondering if it's somewhere in the room. Hinri then teleports back, and Nobunaga asks how it went. Hinri replies that the enemy probably won't notice the transmitter thanks to his advice, telling Nobunaga that he's counting on him now since he won't be able to use his ability anymore that day, and he used all of his knives. Hinri explains that he will first get an idea of where the hideout is located on the ship's floor plan before creating descriptions for the members, looking for witnesses and narrowing down their area of activity. He adds that he will gather together every GU member to get information, and Nobunaga says that the troupe will handle the search. The search for the transmitter. We then briefly see inside the hideout's laundry room where the transmitter oyster is seen under one of the cabinets as it beeps twice. Hinri tells Nobunaga that he's counting on them and that even though the Halei family looked looked like amateurs. They have to be cautious since they don't know what Morena can do and what one of the members meant when he said that someone was an organ. Nobunaga agrees and adds that the mastermind isn't an idiot.
What a compliment.
Yeah, so pretty much this whole volume is a very long-winded way of figuring out where the Hale Lee family base is. That is the bulk of this volume.
And they still don't know. Well, they don't know exactly.
Yeah, they don't know where it is, but they've seen it.
They know how to get to it. Yeah. And they know what it looks like. They don't know where it is on the ship still, though. That's the next step.
Right, yeah, that's to find out specifically where it is. And we'll talk about that more in a sec here. Elsewhere, Finks and Phaeton continue to use the receiver to look for the transmitter. Phaeton notes that because of how the transmitter works, only Tier 2 and 4 are possible locations, suggesting that they go down first. Finks says that if they reach a certain point on Tier 4, they will know if they are getting closer or farther away. Phaeton says that it would be easier to find if Finks could use his N, but Finks reminds him that it's a bad idea, both technically and strategically, to use in the middle of a crowd, adding that he isn't good at using it since it gets interrupted. He continues by saying that the best he can do is look for stuff in the warehouse and compares putting an unknown number of people in his N to walking around the slums naked with a shoot me sign on his back.
Pretty sound reasoning to me.
Yeah. Nobunaga meets up with them and is surprised to see that he is still wandering around, Finks wonders why he came back so quickly, but Nobunaga says that they will talk about it later, asking if the transmitter is working. Phaeton confirms that it is and adds that they have to find out if it's above or below them. Finks tells them that they only have that he only left around 10 minutes ago, and Nobunaga is surprised. Finks explains that they think the Hale Lee's hideout is on Tier 2 and says that they can use the Cha-Ar family's hidden door once they confirm it. A soldier gives the troop members permission to pass, and Nobunaga tells him to let Henry know that they went to the Cha-Ar's hideout. With his mind lingering on Tier 2, Nobunaga feels uneasy about the situation with the Mafia. Finks then asks if he can figure out where the hideout is located on the ship, but Nobunaga replies that he can't since their boss created the space with Nen, adding that they need to stay alert. As the three head down to Tier 4, Phaeton reacts to a change on the receiver, saying that the transmitter is getting farther away and they can confirm the Hale Lee's hideout is on Tier 2. Nobunaga realizes why he felt so uneasy and says that it just means that the Hale Lee's boss is in the upper tiers and wonders how the other two families are justifying the war. Finks says that they shouldn't get involved in a dispute with the Mafia killing each other and one of the bosses staying in their hideout, adding that the Hale Lee could be exploiting the ancient custom. Phaeton says that they should head to the Cha-Ar hideout for now, but Nobunaga suggests at least taking Franklin with them, explaining that they still don't know how many Hale Lee members there are and that he didn't expect their abilities to be so refined. As his mind lingers on exploiting the ancient custom, Nobunaga adds that while they seem like a group of punks, the Hale Lee can be dangerous depending on their advisor's ability. Finks then reminds him that the Mafia issue is just a sideshow until they find Hisoka. Nobunaga points out that they need to secure a route to the upper tiers so they can complete their search, adding that Franklin joining them will improve their chances if they happen to find him. Finks realizes that his reasoning makes it more likely that he's obsessed with the Hale Lee, and Nobunaga admits that one of the members seemed interesting, with Phaeton telling Nobunaga that he likes the enemy too much, and that an emergency broadcast suddenly plays over the intercoms and asks everyone to pay attention to some sad news. Now it's time to check in on the princes. We haven't done that this whole volume.
Nope. So, yeah. Back to where we began.
Yes. Yeah, weirdly enough, this whole volume kind of felt detached from the Succession contest, even though it really isn't.
Yeah, it's all kind of interconnected, but it didn't feel like it. That's for sure.
Yeah. This is a lot of subplot movement with the Phantom Troupe stuff.
Yeah.
So, starting with Tyson, she introduces one of her employees named Mad Wig, a handsome hitman with amnesia. He says that even though he only remembers how to use a handgun, Tyson still hired him. The second introduces himself as Himonse, the world's biggest star, and says that Tyson is the first girl who said he wasn't her type. The third introduces himself as Ansel and reveals that he is Tyson's little brother, adding that only he and Tyson know about it. The fourth introduces himself as Hyuga, a legendary tutor, and says that he can get you into your dream school even if you're incredibly dumb. The last introduces himself as a prince from the planet Mooney in the SR Nebula. Apparently, they have come to the planet to look for a bride. Giuliano realizes that each of them is performing the roles of characters that Tyson likes, but Tyson playfully rebukes him and replies that they have all been reborn, telling Giuliano that the same will happen to him. She then tells him that he will be a bodyguard who looks flirtatious but is actually pure at heart, and Giuliano plays along with her request. Watching on, Izunavi says that while Giuliano isn't any different now, he becomes too calm when reading Tyson's book, guessing that it's linked to the ability of her guardian spirit beast. He then wonders if they can use it to influence the king and have him put an end to the succession contest since it focuses on preaching love. He asks Tyson if she has given the book to the other princes, and she replies that she gave it to the lower princes and their moms, but says that while they probably didn't read it, they most likely didn't throw them away either. So I guess Oito probably has this.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah. She explains that she's in a delicate position in terms of succession order and that she has little influence. Okay, sorry, you're being a freak today.
Yeah, no, he's all over the place.
Izanavi asked if she has given it to the king, and she replies that she needs her mother's permission to see her father, hoping that she gave him a copy since she asked her about it. She reveals that it's the reason why she agreed to participate since she was going to decline at first, adding that her mother was disappointed by how she turned out and that she didn't expect any grandchildren from her.
Well, that's mean.
Yeah, right?
That's really... That's sad. What the fuck?
Very few of the queens really seem like good people, honestly. Oito's kind of the only like good one we've seen so far.
Yeah.
The others really don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like Seiko or whatever, which was Kacho and Fugetsu's mom. We'll see her in a second, actually, but she doesn't really care that Kacho's dead.
No, yeah. What is up with these queens, man? I don't get it.
I don't know. She explains that her mother couldn't stand when the other queens looked at her with pity, and while her mother wants to get her revenge in the succession contest, she only fights with the power of love. Izunavi then wonders if she could ask her mother to speak to the king and have him read her book at the next banquet, emphasizing that it could change the trajectory of the succession contest. Tyson is happy to hear him say that and promises to negotiate with her mother. Okay. Yeah. So something's brewing there.
Tyson's making some sort of move.
Yeah. Outside room 1010, 2 guards stand in front of the doors as 4 soldiers surround them inside. Seiko uses the phone and tells them to hold off on the regulations until she gets her personal belongings organized, wondering why she can't see Fugetsu when she's a queen and her mother, saying to herself that she could let others think Kacho is alive as long as possible. She yells to the soldiers that she will speak to Fugetsu when the time is right and that they must go through her. Hanging up the phone, she then says to herself that while Kacho dropping out so early is a heavy loss, she hated the way her daughter looked at her and spoke to her like she knew everything. She adds that she was an important shield for Fugetsu, I guess that's all she was good for, and says that while she can control the latter, she's too weak to face the succession contest on her own, hoping that she can stay under the Justice Bureau's protection for as long as possible. At the Justice Bureau's interrogation office, Kacho's guardian spirit beast, who I'm just going to call Kacho, because I mean, whatever, looks like her. It is her, effectively.
Yeah, it's presented as if this is essentially just Kacho reborn almost. It's very weird.
Yeah. So Kacho says that she was possibly resurrected as a guardian spirit to protect her. Yeah, so she doesn't even really know what happened. It is effectively just her. Yeah, she it's presented as if she's like, yeah, I think I died. Like we're rolling with this. Yeah. resurrected as guardian spirit beast to protect Fugetsu, and that even if it's her beast's ability, the fact that Fugetsu can see her means that she is out of the contest. She adds that if Fugetsu's aura is being used to maintain her appearance, it must have a considerable burden on her, feeling responsible for her weakened condition and wondering if her finding out the truth will reduce the burden. Shaking and tearing up, Melody blames herself for what happened, but Kacho orders her to pull herself together and to beat herself up about it when she's alone.
A little harsh, but sure.
Well, that's how she is.
Yeah.
She assures Melody that it's what she wanted and that she doesn't regret it at all, adding that it actually makes things simpler. She declares that they will make Fugetsu king and that if they can't escape, they have to fight. She explains that since everyone thinks she's dead, they could use her suddenly turning up alive to their advantage. However, she adds that they need to keep her death a secret from Fugetsu. The investigator in the room, named Kaige, tells Kacho that she should let Fugetsu know that the people are under the mistaken impression that she died, confident that Fugetsu will accept the explanation simply because she exists. She says that while he is trying to come to grips with ghosts and Nen abilities, he was convinced by the military's reports and Melody's condition. Melody says to herself that even in such a stressful situation, this guy is annoyingly calm and collected. Kacho asks if she is in or out, and Melody agrees to help them. Kaige starts with Melody's problem and reveals that 5 princes have requested to see her. He first says that the 3rd and 4th princes wish to speak with her in their quarters and to hear her performance in person. He then says that the 1st, 5th, and 7th princes are more obvious, offering a pardon and requesting an encore of her performance. As Kacho wonders what he means by a pardon, Melody signals for him to keep quiet, and Kaige realizes that she means to not say anything about Hini's death. He explains that the princes have a better understanding of Nen abilities now and realize that Melody was involved in the escape attempt, revealing that they are using her performance as leverage since she could get the death penalty if she is convicted as an accomplice. Kacho realizes that the princes want Melody to indirectly help with assassinations and nonchalantly says that it will lead to fewer princes.
Oh, man.
Melody is taken aback by how harsh she is, and Kaige says that the higher-ranking princes may have restrained themselves because there are still too many of them, which means that there are just as many uncertainties. He adds that if they don't have a good idea of who is targeting whom, they could end up hurting themselves. Melody reveals that her ability is only intended to heal and that the loss of consciousness is a side effect, wondering if the princes would give up if they knew that covering their ears would prevent it. Kaige points out that it's where they can use information and tactics to bargain, guessing that they will end up auctioning off true performance time among the higher-ranking princes. Melody realizes that assassinations and her performance go together as a set. And Kaige says that the best way to protect Fugetsu is to deceive all the princes who have requested a performance, suggesting that they should wipe out all the higher-ranking princes themselves. With Melody taken aback, Kaige says that the best way would be to pour a slow-acting poison in the mouths of the unconscious princes, assuring her that he can prepare everything if she agrees with the plan. Melody realizes that he's willing to die if the plan fails, and wonders why he would go so far for them. He replies that he thought it was already clear and tells Melody that he's in love with her. Sure, okay.
Sure, okay, man.
Explaining that he's unable to sleep at night because he keeps thinking about her and her performance. He adds that, I also love how in this scene the whole time Kacho's just in the back with like her hands over her mouth.
Yeah, he's so calm about it too. He's like, what the hell? Okay, man, sure.
He adds that he's never felt such a throbbing in his heart before and that it perplexes him. As Melody notes that his heartbeat is as precise as an atomic clock, Kaige says that while most see him as a workaholic, he actually yearns for love more than others and says that it's only natural to completely prioritize the person he loves. At first worried that he's trying to trap them, Melody reminds herself that he suggested assassination and guesses that he was sent by one of the princes. She wonders why he's going through so much trouble when he could easily get rid of the two of them at the Justice Bureau. As she says aloud that they agree to the plan, she tells herself that he must be a manipulator posing as someone without powers, and that he's manipulating himself as someone without powers and trying to use them for a hidden purpose. I don't know how much of this is a joke and how much is like actual speculation.
Yeah, it's
it could be the case, but
I could see it being a case where like Melody's just like, no, he has to be like, you know, like he's deceiving us, duping us, and he's actually just like, no, I'm in love with you. I'm just cool as fuck. Like I could see it going that route, but I could also see it being like an actual like, you know, someone sent by one of the princes. I don't know. It's hard to make out here.
It is, yeah. Kaige again says that he will get the necessary supplies and tells Melody to use the visits to get as many of the princes as possible to attend the next banquet. Melody tells herself that assassinating the higher-ranking princes all at once might be his real goal, wondering if the mastermind is a prince who doesn't request a meeting with her. Kacho says that she will do her part and first needs to explain to Fugetsu that everyone thinks she's dead, adding that she will convince her that the top 4 princes need to be eliminated. Kaige tells Kacho to return to the interrogation room and says that he will use the door since, unlike her, he can't pass through walls. So I guess she's kind of like ghost-like, too.
She is a guardian spirit.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah.
As Kacho begins to move through a nearby bookcase, she wonders if he should interrogate her a little, and he replies that he's more worried about Fugetsu, telling Kacho that everyone would think she remains silent anyways. He leaves with Melody and meets with Kacho in the other room, escorting her out and telling himself that the VIP witness protection plan is the safest on the ship, and that not even the first prince could try anything there. He then meets... I meant to say VIP witness protection area. I don't know why I said plan. He then meets with Steiner, our boy, and hands him a small device telling him to press the button if the first prince's men or the royal army come here. He explains that while the Justice Bureau is the most neutral institution on the ship, it will turn into a dictator's base once special martial law is declared. Steiner realizes that it involves the military temporarily taking control of the government's powers in the case of a national emergency. Kaiser adds that the worst-case scenario is the power transfer happening right after the numerous soldiers are sent inside the Justice Bureau. Whew, I'm getting tired of reading, if you guys can't tell.
We're almost there.
Almost there. Explaining that those considered to be insurgents will be charged and executed within 10 minutes. Steiner realizes that it's the last check against the army going rogue. Wondering if the situation with the succession contest is so dire, Kaiser replies that they don't know how, or they don't know why. They don't... Oh, God. My eyes are like glazing over. This is getting harder to read physically. They don't know, and it's why they have to be prepared, telling Steiner that he's one of the few witnesses on board who is guaranteed to return alive and that his safety will be assured. Steiner says to himself that it seems like he's marked for death, and that if he dies, it means something happened that couldn't be in the official record.
Do you need me to take over for the rest of the script, Kaige? And maybe you just add in comments after each paragraph?
Hey, if you wouldn't mind, go for it.
Okay. Yeah, I want to make sure you don't like die during this recording.
Yeah, my eyes are not working anymore.
So I will be taking over for the rest of this episode.
Appreciate it, Dylan.
Listeners, yeah. Okay. Kacho returns to their quarters at the Justice Bureau, but Fugetsu doesn't respond when she calls for her. Kacho points out that they aren't allowed to leave their room since they're key witnesses, worried that Fugetsu used her ability to go somewhere else. She checks the bed and removes the comforter to find Fugetsu's door, explaining that if she's not with Fugetsu, it's supposed to be a one-way path where the entrance disappears when she passes through the exit. She wonders if Fugetsu is still inside the tunnel and worries that someone tried to attack her and that she used the ability to hide. However, Fugetsu suddenly opens the door and Kacho quickly grabs her hands and asks if she's okay. Fugetsu excitedly replies that she has made a breakthrough, revealing that while she can only use the ability once a day before, she can now use it many times. With heavy bags under her eyes, she adds that the return door now appears even when she's alone, and that even though she can only return to where she was, she can now explore on her own even when Kacho is resting. So, massive breakthrough with her ability now.
Big developments there.
It's, yeah. Weird how that changed so quickly, also.
Yeah, definitely.
Kacho wonders if she's really okay, and Fugetsu excitedly assures her that she is, adding that she feels happy and empowered every time she uses her magic, hoping that the two of them can explore and use their magic skills to escape together. Left wondering if the ability really gets stronger with every use, Kacho grabs her sister's shoulders and tells her to take it easy since she's so pale. However, Fugetsu grabs Kacho's wrist as tears stream down her face, and she tells Kacho that it's her turn to protect her, since she has been doing it for so many years. Taken aback, Kacho suggests that they rest and talk about it once they wake up. Kacho then meets with Melody and reveals that Fugetsu passed out, worried that it's not normal and saying that she can't figure out what's happening. Melody reminds her that she is also a key witness and won't be able to get anywhere near the two of them. She tells Kacho that she will have Kaiser arrange a time for her to meet with the other princes and for Fugetsu to be interviewed so that they can pass each other in the hallway. The timing is eventually arranged, and as Melody walks by Fugetsu in the hallway, a dark presence emanates from her as buzzing insects and multiple ghost-like beings are seen floating behind her. And it's a very creepy visual.
Very creepy. That is that is something.
Yeah, I
don't know much about it yet, but
it can't be good.
No, certainly not.
This could be from a multitude of different sources, why this is happening. Part of my mind even went back to is this maybe a side effect from when they tried to escape the ship in the first place?
I wonder. That's a good thought there.
Because it's not the exact same creatures, whatever you want to call them, but maybe it's still a punishment of some sorts for even attempting to escape.
Yeah.
But we don't really know, unfortunately.
No, not yet.
Left frightened, Melody says that Fugetsu's aura has become so weak that it's practically Zetsu, and that the unstable rhythm of her heartbeat is attracting evil spirits, wondering how it happens so quickly. So little aura that you would think that she's just practicing Zetsu 24/7.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
It is.
Melody is unsure of what to do given the number of evil spirits and realizes the importance of finding an exorcist. The two guards tell her to go inside and that all conversations will be recorded during the 10-minute period, adding that it may be used in a court of law and that a public defender will be present. So now she's about to be interviewed by one of the princes.
Mm-hmm.
Melody wonders why Fugetsu is so weak since there's no sign of the evil spirit's body. She points out that if it's an ability that has such a powerful effect, there should be obvious traces or the body itself should be nearby. As she guesses that it's a negotiation with Fugetsu as a hostage and that someone will hint at it during the visits, she is surprised to see Zhang Lei wanting to speak with her in person. He tells her how much he wanted to show his respect and praises her performance at the banquet. He first requests to hear her performance again and then hopes that she will accept a gift. Those are his two requests. Mm-hmm. The public defender asks if she will accept it, and Melody says that she will. Once the gift is put into the box and moved across, Melody sees that it's a coin with the number 1 on it. So one of the coins that his Nen Beast produces.
Right.
Melody is then visited by Vantine.
I guess so.
Yeah. A representative for the Serenich.
Why do I keep doing that?
That's the second time. he's that special. I get it. Who says that while negotiations in public have no meaning, he would like to confirm a few things, with Melody noticing the mention of negotiations. So, keeping an eye out for these kind of details. Very smart, because Melody is very obviously going to be tried to use as a weapon for assassinations in the future.
Yes.
So, yeah. Vantine asks if she will accept the prince's invitation to his quarters, and she replies that while she appreciates the offer, she can't make the decision on her own. Vantine wonders if it's because she was hired as a guard by Kacho, but Melody quickly answers that she can't respond to contractual matters. Shut that down real quickly. Vantine changes the question to ask if she herself is reluctant to play again. Melody says that speaking for herself, she would gladly perform anywhere when asked and under the right circumstances. Vantine is happy to hear it and says that the prince will be pleased, but Melody then says that they can negotiate there. Vantine is left confused and says that they can talk about negotiations once she gets out. Melody tells herself that she has a heartbeat of confusion and doubt and that the fourth prince isn't involved. ruling out both the third and fourth princes and saying that there are 3 left. And I think this is in relation to the whole Fugetsu thing, right? Or
I think she's talking about the Kaige thing.
Kaige, right? Yeah, she's thinking about
the assumption. Yeah.
Never mind. I remember now. Yeah, because she's assuming still that Kaige is scheming something.
Right.
Melody then meets back up with Kaige, who asks if she thinks they shouldn't carry out their plan yet, even if she performs at the next banquet. She confirms that they shouldn't make any careless moves since they don't know who's responsible for the change in Fugetsu, emphasizing that they need to find the cause as soon as possible and asking Kaige to get her released on bail. However, he explains that if they ease her confinement, they won't be able to turn down the subpoenas from the princes, and that the first prince's men are waiting for her to leave the Justice Bureau. Melody asks him to visit Karapika and tell him everything, since he's the only one she trusts. A lot of trust there. Dang. I get it, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've been through a lot together.
They have.
Melody then says to herself that no one's heartbeat reacted to the keyword negotiations, wondering if there's another mastermind or if they're waiting for the right moment. She is left upset that they can't remove any of the princes and those around them from the list of suspects. So, at first narrowed it down a little bit, and now back to square one. She can't trust anybody still.
No.
Poor Melody.
Yeah.
In room 1014, as aura swirls around them, Longi tells Karapika... Longi, yep. We're back to Karapika's quarters now. Or
yeah, finally.
Mitos, I guess, technically.
Yeah. Wobol's, technically, actually.
Wobol. The 14th prince. Longi tells Karapika that water divination isn't needed since they can already use Nen, asking him if he will agree to their contract. We end off the volume with Karapika agreeing to the deal and saying that he will collaborate with Prince Tubepa. She finally got him.
Finally, her dream came true.
After like 30 chapters or something of her trying desperately to get him on her side. It's happening now. And then Hunter x Hunter went on hiatus for another 2 years almost, right?
Yeah, just about. Yeah, and we'll be back with in a month. Now we'll get to see what Karapika does with Tubepa.
Yeah, probably starting right back where we left off with the Karapika stuff, which again, I'm really curious to see where Karapika goes from here, knowing that Hisoka will be on tier 1.
Yeah, that is very huge. Soon. Yeah, we didn't get to see Karapika a whole lot lately. Even in the last volume, there wasn't a whole lot of him. So it's nice that hopefully he'll be getting the spotlight back for a bit.
Yeah.
So overall, what'd you think of this volume, Dylan?
I like the volume a lot. Although I will say that first half was quite a lot to read through, to say the least.
Yes.
And it wasn't particularly easy as well.
Yeah.
A lot of information that may prove relevant in the future, but a lot of it was just like, I don't know if I need to know this right now. Like the whole autograph stuff is a very key example of that kind of that kind of stuff that we were reading there. But I did really enjoy it for the most part. The Phantom Troupe flashback especially kind of more than made up for all
that's the highlight.
Yeah. I feel a lot more connected with the Phantom Troupe as a whole than I did before. With all the members, not even just Crollo. But I have even more of a respect for Crollo now as well. It's so sad what happened to him and all the other original founding members. And you can't help but have that sympathy going forward with them now. I feel like even if something really bad happens to them or if they do something completely atrocious as well, like they've acknowledged even right when it all started that, they're going to become very dastardly villains.
Right.
They're going to do a lot of disgusting things in the future, Crollo basically said. So, you can't help but feel sorry for that they even got into those circumstances, though. So, that's all to say that I really, really enjoyed that flashback. And that alone kind of makes this like a really good volume for me. But a lot of interesting developments, and I guess my main takeaway as well, though, is that it still kind of feels like we're setting up to a degree, even with this volume, at least to me. Honestly, it doesn't even really feel like we're in the thick of the succession contest still. It still kind of feels like things are kind of like...
It's what I kept saying. Like, whenever you would ask about like where we're at in this arc before you started reading, I'd kind of be like, I don't know. We kind of still feels like we're early on, but it's hard to tell because like things could go crazy at any moment. That's the weird thing about this arc. Like any one of these like pins could be pulled out and just things will start collapsing.
Yeah, the equivalent like imagery that I could think of is like we have like 5, 6, 7 lines of like dominoes that are set up and ready to go at a moment's notice, and if just one of those lines start falling, the entire system will start falling, and things will start getting wild.
Yeah.
So, like you said, it's kind of only one pin needs to be pulled before things start blowing up in everybody's faces. So, it could get real at any moment, maybe even these upcoming 20 chapters. But yeah, as things stand right now, where we've left off after catching up, it still feels like we're setting up some stuff, which is really interesting to me.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it's in this constant state of like setting things up and also paying things off. It's such a weird thing. I don't know. I love how it's structured though. I do. I'm really enjoying this arc so far.
It's not
I cannot wait to see where it goes.
Yeah. And it's not honestly too dissimilar from like Chimera Ant even.
No,
so, like,
yeah.
Yeah, it feels very, very similar actually. When you really kind of think about it.
Because that arc also just kind of explodes all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah.
It's like there is build up to it, but I mean, it's also just like it just happens and then we're in it. So that could happen at any moment here, too.
That being said, I would argue that Chimera Ant blows up a lot sooner still.
Yeah.
At least to a degree where it's like really.
Well, it also has like multiple blow up moments, which is the thing.
Which this could also still have. But I don't feel like we've had a blow up moment specifically yet, though.
No, not exactly. I mean, like anytime a prince dies, that's definitely like a spike and like, oh shit. But
yes, but
that's only happened 3 times, and 2 of them were like back to back.
Yeah, and none of those deaths have really led to like the all out war that everybody keeps saying will happen eventually. Yeah, so I don't know. That's just my thoughts, though. And again, like I'm still very much enjoying it, though. It's been a great ride, and I can't wait to be here for the weekly releases to see what happens next.
Yes, so exciting. All right, Dylan, you want to take a look at the listener comments?
Yep, we are going to be looking at comments now. We have 2 comments from the last video that I'll be reading first, and then the last comment will be from the community post. So our first comment from Rex, shout out to Rex George Rodriguez, regular here on the show, and we won't see another faction in the next volume, right? Tagashi, try me.
Yeah, it's kind of a new faction.
I would consider it more of like a subsidiary faction, if that makes sense. Like it's not really their own thing. They're kind of like a derivative of another faction, but.
I think it's my fault because I also called the Have-Nots a new faction, and really they're not also because they're just part of Camilla's faction. It's just it's sub-factions within factions that are getting introduced. So yeah, it is a new faction with a lot of new characters, but also the difference with the Have-Nots, we didn't know about them beforehand. We did know about these guys beforehand. We just didn't see them.
True. So either way, though, yeah, good shout. Yeah, Tagashi will always find a way. Is the lesson to take away from this. And then our second comment from the video is from Final Form Keith. Another great episode, guys. Can't wait to hear you talk about a certain flashback in the next episode. Crying face. Yeah, thank you for the comment and on the episode also. Really appreciate that. But yeah, that flashback was tragic in all the right ways, all the sad ways, and. That's going to stick with me for a while, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not really much else to speak to on that, though, that we haven't already touched on. And then the community post comment also from Final Form Keith. The Spiders flashback is my favorite chapters in the manga. I cried so hard when I read it for the first time. If only they could have kept doing their Power Rangers fan dub instead of becoming international criminals. Yeah, man.
That's funny.
I would love to take a peek into that timeline where they actually turned out to be very good people, but which is it's hard to even like say that sentence out loud now that I said it because like I feel like they are still good people at their innermost part of their souls and heart.
It's deep right now, but yeah, like they killed a lot of innocent people. Like killed.
I'm not excusing
entire
them.
Race.
I'm not excusing them. I don't think they are good people. Like specific, no. It's like they were at one point though. You can't help but feel
yeah. Oh yeah. They're sympathetic for sure, but they're also bastards.
Yeah, and this comment actually reminds me. I'm really curious how you reacted to the first time, then Kaige, whenever you read these chapters.
That was amazing. Yeah, reading those for 3 weeks, that was incredible. I was so sad when it was over. I wanted it to keep going.
Yeah. You would think that a flashback like that should continue for quite a while, just to get as much context as possible. But
we still may see more of it. We'll see.
Yeah, we never really got to see. Their plan unfold whenever Crollo turned 14, So,
yeah.
Hey, maybe.
And I think it is going to be very necessary at some point to show the troop killing Kurapika's entire race. I think that's very important. I want to know why they did it and how it happened, because that's something we just haven't seen yet.
Absolutely. I think that's going to be really important.
Yeah.
At some point. Especially when they inevitably meet again, Kurapika, some form of the troop.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned before when we were talking about the flashback, I really want to learn more about what Sheila may or may not be up to at this point, because that was a very central figure to the troop's origins. And now that she didn't die in that flashback, you can only assume she followed her own path. So curious to see if that gets wrapped into the troop's antics at any point. Assuming they survive the ship, I guess. But
yeah, which who knows?
Who knows what'll happen? See. Yeah. Always remember Crollo's fate and his fortune that was read back in New York New. You can never discount the possibility. It could all end at any moment.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I believe that's it for this episode. I apologize for the length. I also apologize to myself for the length, because God, that was painful for me. Thank you to Dylan for taking over near the end there.
Of course.
That no worries, lifted a lot of stress off me. And also apologies. This episode was probably just mostly me speaking. There wasn't a lot Dylan really could even say, and I don't blame him. Like, it's just kind of weird information that there's not much to say about. So, whatever. But we got through it. This is the end of the volumes, and now, for the next 3 weeks until the manga resumes, we will be transitioning into like bonus-ish episodes, but just normal episodes of the podcast is what they are. But different from what we've been doing. This has all been the prologue of the Hunter Association, guys. Now we're really starting.
Yep. For sure.
This first episode coming up next week will be we're going to talk about the things that weren't in the anime. The primary focus of this video is just to kind of get Dylan up to speed on that stuff, since he hasn't read the manga. And also, any of our viewers that haven't read the manga, you can learn about what was missed in the anime. And also just some general fun facts. I want to talk a little bit about the Kakin Empire's involvement before this arc, because I think it's pretty interesting. Stuff like that. The following week, we will be doing our biggest video, maybe even our longest video. I don't know. We will see how that goes, which will be a very thorough look to where we are at currently in the Succession contest. What is going on? What are all the moving pieces? What are all the characters? What are the named abilities? How did we get here? Stuff like that. We're going to go through it all. And by the end of that video, me and Dylan and you guys watching will be experts on this arc. I promise you.
The purpose is to kind of be a catch-all video for like, okay, here's everything you should be keeping in mind going forward as Hunter x Hunter resumes.
Yes. And then finally, the week before the big comeback, we will just be talking. It'll be our more casual episode for sure, to kind of give ourselves a breather. We're just going to be talking about our personal theories. We'll probably take theories from you guys if you're interested in sending some in. Don't tell us right now. We'll give a call out post before that episode. And yeah, that's our game plan for the next 3 weeks. And then obviously that fourth week we'll be here. Very excited to talk about the new chapter 401.
It's coming up fast, guys. So definitely be sure to be up to date with our uploads and get involved in the conversation while you still can, because it's going to be a great time to be a Hunter x Hunter fan once these new chapters drop. So
absolutely,
be ready.
Yes. All right. I think I am ready to stop speaking. So This has been the Hunter Association. Thank you so much for listening. We are available on all major podcasting platforms as well as YouTube for the video version. Be sure to follow, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We will be here the same time every week talking about Hunter x Hunter. Dylan, where can everyone find you online?
The usual has not changed. It is I'm most active on Twitter at DJ Tengen. That's DJTENGEN. And I just talk about and retweet a bunch of stuff related to video games, anime. I actually just recently caught up to One Piece in the manga just the other day. Been a huge accomplishment, and I maybe I'm gonna try and get more involved with talking about One Piece on my Twitter a little more regularly. Just overall thoughts, because I have a lot of thoughts about that series now that I've caught up. I need an outlet for it. So if you're interested in that, I know there's some crossover, most likely, for Hunter x Hunter fans and One Piece fans. Go check me out there if you want to, talk about any of that or see me talk about any of those interests.
Hell yeah. And I am, of course, Kaige10, KIIGE10 on Twitter. Same kind of stuff. I'm also a big One Piece fan. I tweet about that sometimes too, so catch me there if you're into it. I can also plug our My Anime list if you want to see what we're watching at any given time or reading. That's something you can follow us on.
Yeah, mine's public, so you can put that in the description of the YouTube video at least. And I don't know. I'm cool with that.
So that's all we got this week. Next week, you guys can relax. You don't got any homework this time. Just come here, listen. We're just gonna be talking about things you might have missed in the manga. I'll still do a call-out post in the community tab if anybody has anything to say about anything in particular. Maybe I'll just throw in some hot topics you guys could discuss. Give it a shot. Probably not going to get any responses to that one. I'm not expecting it, but I'll try community posts.
It's worth a try.
Yeah. So, we will see you guys next week for that episode. Thank you guys so much for listening and joining along for this journey through these, 6 volumes, was it? Yeah. No, wait, 7?
6 or 7?
6 volumes. Thank you so much, and we will see you guys next week.
See ya.